What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description.
9BT. Chapter 226 Mr. Tanaka. Namikaze Kirito followed Ba Carla into the elevator, which slowly ascended to the 12th floor.
Then seeing the swaying figure ahead, Namikaze Kirito also followed. Soon, the two came to a door, and Carla took out a key from her chest and opened the door directly. My lord, this is my personal room. No one has ever entered it except me Tilda.
Saying that, Ba Carla went straight into the room, followed by Namikaze Kirito. It has to be said that even though Barbara Carla is more mature on the outside, she is still like a little girl on the inside. The decorations in the room are full of pink and the life-size dolls of red can be seen everywhere.
Different from her boss Tezulo's aesthetics, there are no overly luxurious decorations in this room. There are girls' outfits everywhere, which makes people feel a sense of contrast. What are you taking me to your room for? Namikaze Kirito asked in a silly version. Ba Carla let out a soft hum from her nose, then walked to the edge of the big soft bed and sat down. With a pair of plump, wheat-colored legs crossed, she rolled her eyes coquettishly at Mr. Namikaze. My lord, you are still pretending to be stupid, and you came to my room, isn't it just to satisfy your request? Oh, Namikaze Kirito walked to the dressing chair and sat down, and said with interest. My request? Have I said what my request is? Of course there is Tilda. Seeing that Namikaze Kirito didn't take the bait, although she was very nervous, Carla stood up and came to Namikaze Kirito's side, bent down and lightly leaned on Namikaze Kirito's back. Namikaze Kirito felt the softness of his back at this moment, but the expression on his face did not change at all. Aren't you interested in me, my lord? Barbara Carla's delicate cheek was close to Namikaze Kirito's ear, and she spoke softly, her tone full of temptation. The exhaled breath is as intoxicating as the fragrance of orchids. While Barbara Carla was speaking, that slender and tender hand touched Namikaze Kirito's shoulder directly. Then a strange force directly entered Namikaze Kirito's body. Lucky fruit. Advertisement. This power is definitely a lucky fruit, somewhat similar to the world power that Namikaze Kirito got, but it is very weak. There is a general consideration in the heart, but it is not revealed on the surface. Looking at the smug look in the depths of Carla's beautiful eyes, Namikaze Kirito can't help but want to laugh. But now, it is still unclear what method the other party will use. If so, don't blame me. Namikaze Kirito would be really disappointed if the opponent's whole card was just the ability of this lucky fruit. In order to force Carla to use follow-up means, Namikaze Kirito embraced both hands, and the other party went directly into his arms. Ba Carla, who had just entered Namikaze Kirito's arms, couldn't help being startled, her body stiffened. What's going on? How could it be like this? He's already got my fruit ability, how can I be hugged by him when I don't want to? Ba Carla was completely stupefied at this point. Under normal circumstances, as long as one hits her fruit ability, she will basically be completely controlled by her. After all, luck is a mysterious thing, and she had put her hand on Namikaze Kirito's shoulder just now, taking away his luck completely. There is a huge force of luck in the body at this time. Logically speaking, if Namikaze Kirito wants to hug her when he doesn't want to, there will definitely be countless accidents to prevent this result. Now not only nothing happened, she was fully embraced by Namikaze Kirito. While Ba Carla was still in a daze, Namikaze Kirito, who had been silent all the time, smiled and said, What's the matter? Didn't you say you want to meet my request? Judging by the expression on your face, it seems that you are very reluctant. How? How is it possible? Barbara smiled far-fetchedly, forced her body into Namikaze Kirito's arms, and pretended to be seductive. You are the four emperors, and you are the strongest man in the world. With such a handsome appearance, how could I unwilling? Oh, really, if you hadn't boasted, I really didn't know I would have so many advantages, but... Saying that, Namikaze Kirito looked directly at a wall next to him, and then stretched out a hand. I'm not interested in live streaming. Wood style, cutting technique. Several wooden thorns grew directly from Namikaze Kirito's outstretched arm, and then quickly rushed towards the wall. Advertisement caw caw caw, ah. As the walls crumbled, the sun's painful wailing resounded throughout the room. A figure of black was pierced by several wooden thorns. The reason why he wailed was not only because the wooden thorns penetrated the body. Cutting technique would make the grown wooden thorns grow again in the enemy's body. Countless wooden thorns will penetrate the internal organs. He didn't intend to stop at all, and several wooden thorns grew out of his hands again. With the sound of piercing into the flesh, Mr. Tanaka was so painful that he couldn't make a sound. How could Carla dare to admit it at this time? She knew the horror of Namikaze Kirito, but she didn't expect it to be so cruel. The black figure is a cadre under Gilder Tetsulo, known as Mr. Tanaka, and his ability is to wear fruit. One of my own. Ba Carla, why kneel? It's none of your business, is it? Or, you have a share. He could only kneel down on the ground, praying that the other party would let his companion go. Let the enemy directly feel the pain from within. Seeing that there was no movement, he planned to go through the wall to have a look, but as soon as he passed through the wall, he was trapped by Jia Ying before he came over. Plop. Namikaze Kirito sneered. It seems that Tezulo didn't teach you hospitality. How dare you spy on me? I have to say, you are very brave. Ah. Namikaze Kirito held out a finger and lifted Carla's chin with a slightly teasing tone. Seeing this, Carla quickly knelt down on the ground. She had already tried to activate the fruit ability, but at this time the lucky fruit seemed to have failed and could not play its due role at all. When Ba Carla decided to take Namikaze Kirito back to her room, she had already informed him that Mr. Tanaka, who has the ability to pass through walls, has been waiting for the plan to be implemented in another room. 840 Stop. Please stop, my lord, he is one of us, and he didn't mean to offend you. As the wood thorns grew, Mr. Tanaka's wailing became louder and louder. No. No, seeing her companion suffer in such pain, Ba Carla hurriedly wanted to stop it, but after seeing Namikaze Kirito's cold eyes, she trembled all over, and immediately started begging.
Chapter 227 I want that celestial dragons. My lord, please forgive him.
Ba Carla had already lowered her head completely on the ground at this time, and her tone was full of pleading. That pitiful appearance would probably make most men feel pity, but she was facing Namikaze Kirito. Even though Namikaze Kirito is a friendly guy most of the time, even saving the Straw Hat crew, that doesn't mean he's kind. On the contrary, Namikaze Kirito is a demonic figure in the eyes of others most of the time because he does as he pleases, such as now. Finally, after Mr. Tanaka uttered a series of wailings, there was no more reaction, and the blood-stained wooden thorn gradually retreated from his body. The internal organs in his body are already in a mess. The growth power of the wood thorns is the most terrifying, and it will fill the enemy's body in an instant. Boom! As Mr. Tanaka's body fell to the ground, Carla's beautiful eyes were lost for a while, and she knelt powerlessly on the ground, full of fear in her heart. Only at this time did she remember who she was facing. I also understand why the world government spends so much to let its boss deal with Namikaze Kirito. At this time, the devilish whisper resounded in my ears again. What, stupid, didn't you want to meet my request? Barbara Carla raised her head subconsciously, and saw Namikaze Kirito sitting on the chair looking at herself with a gentle smile. The body shivered subconsciously, and then Barbara Carla stepped forward slowly, put her hands on Namikaze Kirito's pants, and slowly approached her beautiful face. On the other side, in the amusement park, Boa Hancock and Nico Robin are casually playing with some gambling machines around them. The two of them don't care whether they win or lose, they just play casually. Nico Robin, right, do you have unreasonable thoughts about your concubine's husband? Advertisement Nico Robin, who was watching the machine turning, was slightly stunned when he heard this, and then looked at Pollack beside him. At this time, she was biting her lower lip tightly, looking angry. Nico Robin couldn't help but feel a little funny. I'm afraid no one knows that the most famous beauty in the world, the pirate queen Boa Hancock, is such a childlike person. No wonder Mr. Kirito will be with her. Looking at Boa Hancock's cute appearance, Nico Robin's dark heart once again occupied the upper and lower levels, and a little bit of teasing each other's heart rose in his heart. That's right, my Lord Empress, I fell in love with Mr. Kirito, but I was afraid that he would not agree, so the group followed on board first. So it is. Damn woman. Boa Hancock's beautiful eyes were cold, and the Conqueror's hockey on his body began to appear faintly, and the surrounding decorations were automatic without wind. Of course Nico Robin also felt the trembling breath, but she still smiled and said, Mr. Kirito is busy with other things, is it really okay for you to do something to me? It will make him unhappy. Well, hearing the words Namikaze Kirito would be unhappy, Boa Hancock gritted his teeth for a while, but he withdrew his momentum and looked at the other party viciously. I'm telling you, Nico Robin, if you don't want any problems with your group, you'd better not take action against the concubine's husband, otherwise the concubine will not bypass you. The words of Boa Hancock also made Nico Robin a little angry. You know, the Straw Hat crew made her feel warm, so she would not accept others threatening her with her companions. Originally, he wanted to tease the other party's heart, but it became a little cold. The tone also became firm. Master Empress, if Mr. Kirito accepts my words, I don't mind telling you, my choice. You. The two top beauties glared at each other for a while, and the surrounding people thought nothing happened. There was no way. Namikaze Kirito is too famous now, and Boa Hancock, as the original 7 warlords of the sea, became Namikaze Kirito's partner again. Who dares to provoke? If the other party settles the score after Chuhou, after leaving this city, he must take his life. You can watch the excitement, but you must have strength. At the same time, the top floor of the Golden King Hotel. Advertisement Gilder Tetsolo was sitting on a soft sofa, looking at the masked man in white costume in front of him. If Doflamingo is here, you can tell at a glance, isn't the person wearing the mask the person from World Government Cipher Pole, CP0? Tetsolo, as long as you take care of Namikaze Kirito, what you promised will be done. Don't worry about that. Ha 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 ha. Are you kidding me? That one is the 4 emperors, the one who makes you marine helpless. You only promised me to be exempted from the heavenly gold for 5 years? Hearing this, the voices of the members of CPO became a bit annoyed. Tezolo. You must know that 5 years of heavenly gold is not a small sum, not to mention that it will give you a piece of land ownership, plus legal plunder from the 7 warlords of the sea. What more could you want? A trace of disdain flashed across Tezolo's face. To be honest, he didn't care about the land ownership. Now he already has the most luxurious honesty, not to mention that he is already the king recognized by the world government, so what if he has more territories? Let's talk about the title of 7 warlords of the sea? Is legal plunder right? Do you make money here? How can he get money faster than him in plundering? If your sincerity is just that, I will make my men stop planning. This is a blatant threat. As a member of CP0, even if you face marine high-level officials on weekdays, the other party has to give yourself face. But there is no way, who let people have great ability, and vowed to have a way to deal with Namikaze Kirito. Otherwise, the ghost would sit here and negotiate terms with him. Tezzolo, it's impossible for people from Tianlong, of his, to hand it over to you. You don't understand what this means to the world government, do you? It's just a celestial dragons. A while ago, wasn't Namikaze Kirito killed 3 of them? What are you reluctant to do? That's right. Tezzolo's goal is to kill Stella's celestial dragons. He wants to use this opportunity to trade with the world government and let the other side give him the celestial dragons. The person he loved the most died at the hands of the other party. This hatred kept him awake every day. How could he let go of such an opportunity so easily? No matter how much you pay, it's worth it. CP0 knew that with Tezzolo's firm tone, he must have thought that the world government would accept this deal. Compared with common celestial dragons, the stability of the world government system is the most important. When they came, 5 elders also specifically confessed that if Tezzolo didn't let go, then he would promise him. Chapter 228 I must kill you. Tezzolo, are you really threatening the world government? Although 5 elders has decided to agree to Tezzolo's conditions, CP0 still wants to fight for it, which is not how much he respects celestial dragons. But to save Tezzolo. That's right, it was to save Tezzolo. In this golden city, many officials of the world government have received bonuses, especially CP0. Who wouldn't want to be rich? Tezzolo is extremely generous, and he owns 20% of the world's Baileys, so when he gives red envelopes to others, he is also very generous. If his condition this time is celestial dragons, after Namikaze Kirito is dealt with, no surprises, world government will definitely find a reason to get rid of Tezzolo. No matter how stinky celestial dragons are, the world government cannot abandon them. Because the celestial dragons are called the creator, the world government has always wanted to cover up the 100-year blank history and describe the creator as excellent. Once it is discovered that they have abandoned the celestial dragons, the consequences will be disastrous. Tezzolo asked to exchange celestial dragons today, and the 5 elders were able to agree mainly because Namikaze Kirito's combat power was too heaven-defying. If you can really get rid of it, the price is only a celestial dragons, and 5 elders can wake up with a smile after dreaming 25 times. But once Namikaze Kirito is eliminated, no need to think about it, Tezzolo will inevitably become a sacrificial son. As the cipher pole of the world government, CPO can't say too much, even if it's for his own benefit. He has been persuading him for a long time. I want celestial dragons, will you give it or not? Tezzolo's face was already a bit hideous. He would give up everything for Stella, even everything he owns now. There's no way. Stella is his white moonlight. People are dead, but this revenge still has to be avenged. Okay, on behalf of the world government, I agree to your deal, and within 2 days, I will send you the celestial dragons. Seeing that the opponent didn't listen to persuasion, CP0 also lost patience. Isn't it wealth? If you can't beat it, just find a puppet again. Such a person with no vision, as an ally, is estimated to die soon. There is no need to waste any more words. Happy cooperation, CP, because of people. Tezzolo stood up, held out a hand, and said with a smile. Advertisement CP0 also reached out and shook hands with it. Bang bang bang. Just as Tezzolo said that he had a good cooperation and was about to open a bottle of wine, there was a hasty knock on the door. Tezzolo hated being interrupted when he was talking about things, but he also knew that if his subordinates dared to interrupt him like this, something important must have happened. When CPO heard the knock on the door, his figure flashed and disappeared from the open window. It would not be a good thing if someone found Cipher Pole here, so he left the scene immediately. Come in. Following Tezzolo's cold voice, a man in a suit came in. Boss. Mr. Tanaka, killed by Namikaze Kirito. What? Boom. Hearing these words, Tezzolo punched the wall directly, and he directly punched a hole in the hard and thick wall. His eyes were full of anger and killing intent. Mr. Tanaka, the cadre is under his banner. You must know that although he is not a rare companion, Mr. Tanaka's fruit ability is very useful. Just like Carla, he is an indispensable person for this golden city. Now I heard that he was killed, and it was Namikaze Kirito. That said, Namikaze Kirito may already have news that he's dealing with him by this time. This incident was incredible. Tezzolo was shocked by the active appearance of the Summit War on the screen. The reason why he agreed to world government to target Namikaze Kirito was also because of his strange fruit ability. But this is the premise that Namikaze Kirito is not prepared. Once he is guarded, he has no chance of winning in a head-to-head confrontation. Tezzolo still has this self-knowledge. Let alone him, who in this world can say that he can beat Namikaze Kirito at present? Tell me, what's going on? The subordinate was already frightened by Tezzolo's anger and sat on the ground, his body trembling non-stop. Looking at the distorted and ferocious face in front of him, he became more and more frightened. Advertisement, however, he dared not answer the question, so he said tremblingly, Mr. Tanaka, he has been spying on Bo. Namikaze Kirito and Ba Carlo were talking in the room, and they were tortured and killed. Crap. What a crap. And you are all crap. Tezzolo knew that Mr. Tanaka was killed because of peeping, and he was relieved. It seems that the other party has not realized that he is going to deal with him, but is it just because he is uncomfortable being peeped? But why did he go to Bar Carla's room? Did that woman betray me? Impossible. Barbara Carla is in the bathroom at this time. She has been rinsing her mouth for a long time, her soft lips have been washed torn, and there is a trace of blood. As expected of a mature woman, even if she is clumsy, she has already learned it in the end. Tezzolo, you have a good subordinate. Just at this time, Tezzolo also looked at his subordinates. Ignoring the subordinates who had turned into corpses, Tezulo sat on the sofa and directly picked up the red wine on the table and drank it. Tanaka, you are really damned, you can't even do small things well. Namikaze Kirito had already appeared in the lobby of the amusement park refreshed. The subordinate who reported the letter looked at his boss who was angry and laughed for a while. He had completely lost the courage to stand up and could only sit on the ground trembling. Ba Carla, it seems that you have resorted to the last resort after all. Yes, after this incident, I will reward you and suck all his luck away, so that my plan can be carried out smoothly. Namikaze Kirito, why are my abilities useless to you? Why are you doing this to me? I must kill you, I must. Tezulo seemed to think of something, the corners of his mouth raised. Do you know, you just caused me to directly smash the wall here, you are really damned. Not to mention the curse of Bar Carla over here. In the room just now, Namikaze Kirito has thoroughly figured out the ability of Lucky Fruit. In the hotel room, Namikaze Kirito had already left at this time, and only the body of Mr. Tanaka was left in the room. The originally pink carpet was completely stained red by blood. As he said that, under the desperate eyes of his subordinates, Tezulo stretched out a hand, and the gold decoration on the wall turned into liquid and slowly covered his subordinates completely. At this time, she was looking at her face full of fear and tears in the mirror. Chapter 229. The plan is ready to be implemented, but with such a weak trace of world power, it is impossible for Namikaze Kirito to unseal much power. Of course, it's better than nothing. This also confirms that a part of the devil fruit is indeed a derivation of the power of the world. If you don't absorb it from the protagonist group, then use dark fruit to absorb more of this ability to restore the peak, until you face the order of heaven and Tao in this world. Honey, you're back, Tilda. Seeing Namikaze Kirito appearing in the amusement park, Boa Hancock immediately ran towards him like a little girl in love, calling his name. He threw himself directly into Namikaze Kirito's arms, enjoying the warmth. Such a clingy empress, Namikaze Kirito is not bored at all, and even likes it a little more in her heart. When facing other men, they are always cold, and even strike at the slightest disagreement. Only when facing themselves, can they have this appearance. Which man cannot be tempted by this kind of woman, let alone she is the most beautiful woman in the world. Okay, Robin is going to laugh at you at the daily meeting. Caressing Boa Hancock's back, Namikaze Kirito spoke softly. Boa Hancock's shy expression immediately turned cold, and then she looked at Nico Robin who was walking behind her. At this time, she somewhat dodged Namikaze Kirito's gaze. But when he looked at Snake G, he still had a smile on his face, as if he was mocking her. It's such an abominable stealing cat, dared to rob the concubine of your husband. Obviously, Nico Robin had achieved her goal when she angered Boa Hancock on impulse just now, and now she can't wait to directly compete with Nico Robin. But Nico Robin will not do what the other party wants, there is no way, it is really impossible to beat. Robin, how do you feel about this so-called Golden City? The person who built this place is absolutely a genius. Nico Robin couldn't help admiring that every detail of this entertainment area was perfect, and she couldn't think of any adjectives to describe the bossy here except genius. Yes, he is indeed a genius. The building here is very good, and it will be mine soon. Advertisement. Although Namikaze Kirito said this with a smile, a chill appeared in Nico Robin's heart. Sure enough, this man is not a good person. Everyone has entertained you with good intentions, but you plan to snatch this place. But this is the real pirate world, isn't it? Sure enough, people like Luffy rarely exist. Thinking of his companions, a trace of nostalgia appeared in Nico Robin's beautiful eyes, and he didn't know what happened to them now. As if seeing what the intellectual woman in front of him was thinking of writing, Namikaze Kirito said softly. Don't worry, your companions are all safe. After the things here are over, I will take you to meet them when I have the chance. Thank you, Captain, Nico Robin said in surprise. At this moment, Doflamingo also walked over with half-hearted steps. Fufurfur. How are you, Captain? Are you satisfied with the hospitality here? I'm quite satisfied, but the world government should be more satisfied. Doflamingo is a smart man. Hearing Namikaze Kirito's meaningful words, the eyes behind the sunglasses became a little gloomy. Tezulo, Yugai, have you reached an agreement with the world government? Observation hockey completely covered the entire hall, and Doflamingo could feel every move of those people around. Sure enough, I didn't think about that aspect before, but now I observe carefully, there are many people dressed in common who are pretending to be casually looking at themselves and others. Don't think about it, it must be someone from world government. It's really him, even my partner has been counted into it. Doflamingo's heart was full of anger at this time. A few years ago, his own brother came to him with the intention of plotting against him, although he executed him in the end. However, killing his younger brother has become a knot in his heart, so it is very uncomfortable to be calculated by someone, especially if the other party is his trusted partner. Even the fruits were taken from him. Dover, wait with peace of mind, I want to see how this Tezulo wants to deal with us. A deep meaning flashed in Namikaze Kirito's eyes. Fufurfurfur, you are the captain, of course I will listen to you. Advertisement. Watching the conversation between the two, Nico Robin felt a chill in his heart. She had a psychological shadow on the world government. While everyone was talking, the elevator rang suddenly, and a green-haired man in a pink suit and gold ornaments came over. The person who came was Gilder Tetzolo, known as the Golden Emperor, and he had already been to Bar Carla's room to inquire. Ha, Mr. Kirito, and Dover, I have been busy with some important things before, I hope you will not blame me for being late. Staring at Namikaze Kirito, one of Tezulo's hands was slowly moving, and he was feeling the gold powder in Namikaze Kirito's body. She didn't figure out the reason why the fruit didn't take effect when she was in the room before, she just thought it was because the time hadn't come yet. Isn't this thing stable? Tetsulo came to Namikaze Kirito's side, laughing brightly. Of course, the premise is that Tezulo makes Namikaze Kirito lose his fighting power first, otherwise with this man around, all the plots and tricks will be for nothing. That would be great. I was afraid you would be angry because I didn't take good care of you. Doflamingo, Lockdar, One Piece, Shiryu of the Rain. Tezulo believed in the power of the lucky fruit, even if he was touched by Bar Carla unprepared, he would probably be hit. Zero, this is currently Namikaze Kirito's partner, and Doflamingo is his partner, as long as he is given enough benefits, he will be fine. As for the remaining 3 people, the world government has promised that they will take care of it. Tezulo also understands this truth, so he came down to the bottom to try it out. If there is a chance, he will pull Doflamingo, a partner, into his camp. That's right, if you want to control these people, gold powder is essential, and only by letting them all erode the gold powder can you proceed to the next step. Barbara Carla made it clear that Namikaze Kirito's luck has been sucked away. Of course I won't blame you. I'm already very satisfied with your hospitality. Namikaze Kirito shook his head, expressing that he didn't blame the other party. But she did feel a huge force of luck in her body, which meant that she had successfully activated the fruit. So Tezulo thought at this time that Namikaze Kirito's luck was gone, so his plan could be easily implemented. Chapter 230 start to work when Tezulo activated his ability. Others didn't notice it, but Namikaze Kirito knew it all. He completely ignored the gold powder entering his body before. As I said before, since he became a 6 paths class, all aspects of his body have already changed. It has surpassed the form of human being, and evolved to a higher level of life. This is also the reason why he didn't get any negative effects even though he was lucky enough to be absorbed by Carla. Now if he wanted to eliminate the gold powder in his body, he only needed one thought, then Tezulo's plan would fail completely. But Namikaze Kirito didn't mean that. If he really did that, I'm afraid Tezulo would be afraid to attack himself and others, right? That would be too boring. If you want to completely subdue a person, you have to kick him directly into the abyss at the moment when the other person is most proud. Looking at the deep smile on Namikaze Kirito's face, Tezulo didn't know why, but felt a little uneasy in his heart. But this anxiety disappeared after he discovered the gold powder in Namikaze Kirito's body. Carla said just now that he had absorbed all of Namikaze Kirito's luck. In other words, when he wants to activate the golden fruit ability, the other party will definitely be hit. With such confidence, what is there to be afraid of? Thinking of this, the smile on Tezulo's face became even wider, and more than that, there was a trace of disdain in the deepest part of his eyes. He thinks, what if Namikaze Kirito can face the 5 top fighters in Marine alone? What if he becomes the strongest man in the world? Don't you want to be controlled by yourself? While everyone was talking, the elevator opened again, and Ba Carla came out from it. At this time, her face is still beautiful and sexy, but whenever she looks at Namikaze Kirito, her beautiful eyes are full of complex colors. She was thinking about how to deal with the man in front of her for a while. Just in time, I saw my boss gesturing with his hands facing away from her. Advertisement. Ba Carla understood that this was the implementation of the plan, and then she began to bring the service staff to approach Shiryu and the others on purpose, and served everyone a glass of wine. When the other party is inadvertent, those slender jade hands will always touch the other party's body. Of course, if someone kindly brings you wine and chips, it's just a touch, and there's nothing wrong with it. Huh? What's going on? Is Lousy's luck so bad? Although Shiryu of the Rain is interested in killing people, it doesn't mean he doesn't like to play. He even had a great time playing here. He has been winning money like crazy before, but these bets not only won't win, but even won. The chips were also stuck in the machine and could not come out. Fortunately, the service staff at the side saw this and quickly stepped forward to help, otherwise Shiryu Yuji's temper would come up, and he wouldn't care about your whereabouts. The knife in his hand that was stained with countless blood is no joke. It was not only him who had this phenomenon, but also Rayleigh not far away. At this time, his face was full of disappointment. He had been winning all the time, but why did he start to lose like crazy? The machine was broken. However, he didn't pay too much attention to it. Anyway, the people in Tezulo said that they would take it when they ran out of chips, and the supply would be unlimited. After getting in touch with all Namikaze Kirito's men, Bar Carla swayed her sexy body, came to Tezulo's side, and nodded with a smile. Tezulo understood it, and it seemed that the plan could be implemented, and when the helpers from the world government rushed over, he could directly tear his face apart. Of course, Namikaze Kirito understood what the two of them were doing with their furtive looks, and he didn't need to hear it, he could guess it. Didn't he just absorb the luck of all the members? It has to be said that all the devil fruits in the pirate world have such unreasonable effects. For example, one of Doflamingo's subordinates, Sugar, obviously does not have much strength, but he has a regular fruit. If it weren't for Usopp, I'm afraid the Straw Hat crew in the original book would have been wiped out directly. Coupled with Doflamingo's matchmaking and the presence of Namikaze Kirito, everyone subconsciously lost their vigilance. Who would have thought that this sexy and beautiful woman in front of her would possess a devil fruit with the ability to rule? Fufurfur. It's really hard for you, Tezulo, to entertain you like this. Doflamingo talked to Tezulo with a smile, but his eyes hidden under the sunglasses were full of murderous intent. Ha ha ha, we're partners, not to mention 4 emperors, 7 warlords of the sea came to me together, but I am very honored. Advertisement Tetsulo didn't notice the abnormality of his partner, and was even thinking about how to draw the other party to his camp in his mind. Is that Momosagi? Namikaze Kirito ignored the conversation between the two, but looked at it casually. After looking at it, he directly found a flower in the Marine Admiral's candidate Momosagi. At this time, she was not far away, her pair of beautiful eyes were staring at her closely. Not long after, a man in a suit came to her side suddenly, whispered a few words in his ear. Momosagi's face changed. He seemed to be very shocked, but he soon came back to his senses, and put his slender, white and tender hands on the handle. Marine and World Government United. If you guessed right, the man in the suit must be from the World Government. Namikaze Kirito's observation Haki has long sensed that people around him are constantly looking at him. No matter how much he pretended to be inadvertent, he was still noticed. Looks like it's time to start, right? Thinking of this, Namikaze Kirito set his sights on Tetsulo, and as expected, Tetsulo seemed to have received a signal from the World Government at this time. The killing intent on my body can no longer be stopped. Whoosh! Shiryu of the Rain is a murderous maniac with a strong sense of murderous aura. Basically, the moment Tetsulo released his murderous aura, he came to Namikaze Kirito in a 3.0 direct dodge, and the knife on his waist appeared instantly. Sheathed. Golden splash. Of course Tetsulo felt the crisis in front of him, but he didn't panic at all, and activated the Golden Fruit's ability directly. At this moment, in the amusement park, except for a group of people from Tetsulo's side, a group of men in suits and Momosagi, a large amount of gold suddenly poured out of the other people. Rayleigh and the others, as the strong in the pirate world, just wanted to deal with the changes after discovering the changes in their bodies. Either their feet slipped and they were directly wrapped in gold and fell to the ground, or they suddenly had a stomachache, or the machines in the room collapsed come down on their body. In short, everyone was rendered powerless by inexplicable reasons. The same goes for Boa Hancock and Nico Robin. Chapter 231 Why are you okay? Even Namikaze Kirito, the strongest man in the world, was covered in thick gold. What do you mean, Tetsulo? Doflamingo's face has completely lost the smile, and the tone of his speech has become gloomy. Seeing the other party like this, Tetsulo walked up to him, laughed and said, "Ha ha ha ha, don't worry, buddy, it's just some tricks, just at this time, I want to cooperate with you again." Fufurfur. Are you kidding me? No, you really misunderstood me. You must know that you are the 7 warlords of the sea. The most ferocious criminal in the world is in front of you. If you can cooperate with me to catch him, you will get a bigger reward, benefit? Hearing this, Doflamingo fell into silence directly. Tetsulo thought that the other party was moved and was thinking about it at this time, but it was not the case. Doflamingo was just thinking about how to kill the opponent when he was out of trouble for a while. During the Summit War, Doflamingo was on the battlefield and saw with his own eyes how Namikaze Kirito killed the quartet. It's just a golden fruit, he doesn't think it can trap Namikaze Kirito. What's more, Namikaze 03 Kirito has been admitted as the captain, so how could he easily betray him? They have big plans to destroy the celestial dragons. Tap. At this moment, the surrounding men in suits and Marines Admiral candidate Momosagi, including CP0 who left before, all came to Namikaze Kirito's side. CP0 looked at Namikaze Kirito, who was wrapped in gold, with a hint of complacency in his eyes. The most ferocious criminal in the world? Wasn't it calculated by our cipher pull? Tisk tisk. After the ridicule, he looked at Tetsulo. You did a good job on this matter, and what you promised will be done within 3 days. Ha 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 ha. That would be great. Tetsulo covered his face with one hand and laughed wildly. Momosagi didn't pay attention to the deal between the two, and her beautiful eyes were still staring at Namikaze Kirito. What she's thinking about now is the Marine soldiers who died, and the person from the world government came to her just now to be more sure, in case something happens. Advertisement. Do you think you will bring many strong people, only so few people? Namikaze Kirito glanced at the person in front of him and said lightly. Tetsulo was taken aback by this statement, and then said, You are in danger now, so I'm afraid it's inappropriate to say this sentence? Unable to help themselves, Namikaze Kirito sneered. When did you have the illusion that I lost my resistance? Swish. Just after Namikaze Kirito finished speaking, Momosagi pulled out Jin Kunluo suddenly. She had already sensed the danger, and the sharp knife light pointed directly at Namikaze Kirito's head. Clang. There was a sound of metal intertwining. Tetsulo looked at the scene in disbelief. Namikaze Kirito actually stretched out a hand from the gold, and even clamped Momosagi's knife with 2 fingers. Logically speaking, once the body is eroded by the gold powder, as long as Tetsulo activates his ability, the whole body of the victim will be frozen by the gold powder. If it is simply wrapped in gold, most people in this world can break free. So the scary part of this move is not the gold wrapped on the outside, but the gold inside the body. Coupled with the blessing of the lucky fruit, no matter how strong the opponent is, he will be hit. The current Namikaze Kirito should be unable to move, but what the hell is happening in front of him? Fufurfur. Tetsulo, you be asterisk 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 D. Do you think he is someone you can restrain? No, you're wrong. He is the real king of hell. Whether it is you or the group of free people, anyone who thinks he is superior will be torn to pieces by him. Otherwise he would not be my captain. Doflamingo said with a crazy face. How can this be? Tetsulo looked at Bar Carla who was on the side, and the latter took 2 steps back in fear. I've exhausted his luck. I don't know what's going on. Seeing Bar Carla's terrified appearance, Tetsulo knew that the other party did not deceive him, nor did he have the guts to dare to do so, so there was only one possibility. The person in front of him was so strong that it was beyond common sense. Since this is the case, then you can't keep your hands, or when the other party liquidates, your many years of foundation will be destroyed. Thinking of this, Tezzolo didn't dare to hesitate any longer, and directly put his hands on the ground. His fruit ability has been awakened, plus the whole building is made of gold, he can manipulate all the gold to attack the enemy. Advertisement. A large amount of gold appeared on the ground, and then Barbara Carla, Momosagi, and even the men in suits all had a layer of gold armor on their bodies. A golden giant axe appeared in Tezzolo's hand, and he swung it directly at Namikaze Kirito's head. At this time, Namikaze Kirito was still holding Momosagi's knife with 2 fingers, and Momosagi also used his strength to try to get the knife back. When the giant axe was only a few tens of centimeters away from Namikaze Kirito's head, Namikaze Kirito's hand hit hard, and Momosagi in golden armor was thrown flying and hit Tezzolo's body. The two flew out backwards, smashing several stone pillars directly. Then Namikaze Kirito shook it away and walked out of the gold package. The solid gold directly turned into countless pieces. Barbara Carla looked at Namikaze Kirito, who was walking towards her. Her beautiful eyes were full of fear. 013, although she was wearing golden armor, but her only attack method was lucky fruit. Holding the sword made of gold in his hand, but trembling all over, he had no intention of attacking at all. Are you shaking? Really, am I that scary? Namikaze Kirito walked up to Ba Carla, stretched out a hand to caress that delicate cheek. Ba Carla finally couldn't bear the fear in her heart anymore, and the golden sword in her hand fell to the ground directly. I saw Namikaze Kirito's fingers slowly across the red lips of the woman in front of him, as if he was recalling the beautiful things that happened before. Namikaze Kirito. At this moment, in the ruins not far away, Momosagi let out a roar, and then wielded Jin Kunluo to swing a pink sword light. The sword light is sharp and fast, which is fundamentally different from the thick and broad sword energy used by Hokage. Admiral's alternate. It's too early for you and me to fight. Namikaze Kirito waved his hand directly, and the sword energy dissipated without a trace, and then turned his palm into a fist, and struck forward quickly. Ka. Many days have passed since the Summit War, and the long-awaited power of shock reappeared. The atmosphere was shattered, and the King of Gold Hotel trembled, and some people even lost their feet and fell to the ground. Momosagi swung a knife directly in front of him, and Pink's sword energy and shock force were fighting against each other. Chapter 232 Gold Titan Ka. In the end, Pink's sword energy and shock force cancelled each other out, but the surrounding walls were not so lucky. Everyone was on the first floor, and the walls on the first floor were already in tatters. If you look outside, you can see that the King of Gold Hotel has become rickety and is in danger of collapsing at any time. Although blocking the shocking force, Momosagi did not relax at all. Her beautiful eyes were full of coldness. She knew that she was definitely no match for the man in front of her, and she had used most of her strength just now to counteract the power of the shock. But Namikaze Kirito was clearly just a random punch. How can there be such a big difference in power? Momosagi fell into self-doubt. As a substitute for Admiral, she has the strength close to Admiral, and Admiral is the highest combat power in Marine. There has never been such a strong person in this world, even the people in Legendary. But now, such a person appeared before his eyes. Thinking of this, Chutu tightened his grip on Jin Kunlun's jade hand again. At this moment, there was a shaking in the ruins, and Tezzolo pushed aside the gravel and stood up. He was directly hit by the golden armor on Momosagi just now. If he wasn't strong enough, he would have passed out by now. At the same time, his heart was full of uneasiness. The last time he had this kind of mentality was when he had nothing and was stepped on the soles of his feet by celestial dragons. Unexpectedly, facing Namikaze Kirito, there is so much pressure. Now he knew why Doflamingo chose to be the opponent's subordinate. No way, he couldn't beat him. How could this kind of monster appear in the world? Boss. Ba Carla sat on the ground, letting Namikaze Kirito's finger swipe between her lips, her voice trembling, as if she wanted Tezzolo to save her. But Tezzolo ignored his subordinate's cries for help. Looking at Namikaze Kirito full of vigilance, he knew that the enemy in front of him might use all his strength to no avail. Advertisement. However, Tezzolo didn't have the slightest intention of retreating now, because just now he remembered the powerlessness he felt when he was stepped on by the celestial dragons. This is also the strongest shackle deep in his heart. In order to erase that trace of fear, he has tried various methods over the years, using money to control everyone, including his own subordinates, and he even needs his permission to laugh. He thought he had forgotten that feeling long ago, but now when he faced Namikaze Kirito, the damn fear reappeared. I'm not the same anymore, now I am. No one can look at me with your eyes. Tezzolo looked at Namikaze Kirito's eyes full of smiles, and suddenly felt that he was insulted, and the shadow in his heart was getting bigger and bigger, and finally he couldn't bear it anymore and yelled out. Momosagi frowned and glanced at the man known as the Golden Emperor. You know, Marine's combat strength is here, and she is the only one at present. Although many people have come from the world government, they are free to face Namikaze Kirito. Originally thought that Tezzolo could help, but found that the other party seemed to be crazy. Tezzolo ignored everyone's gaze, and after he finished shouting, he put his hands on the ground, and the entire Golden King Hotel began to tremble. The walls, pillars, ceiling, including the ground, everything began to turn into a sea of gold, and then began to gather towards Tezzolo's body. Namikaze Kirito knew that the building would definitely be melted down by the other party, so the moment Tezzolo activated his ability, he came outside with a few gold groups on the ground. Seeing this, Momosagi hesitated for a moment, and then quickly came outside, followed by a group of world government personnel. Boom! Accompanied by a huge roar, the entire King of Gold Hotel slowly disappeared from people's sight. Then I saw that it was a man made of gold standing on the original site of the Golden Lord Hotel. Barbara Carla was also brought outside by Namikaze Kirito in the chaos. Even when she saw the golden titan form of her own boss, there was no peace of mind in her beautiful eyes. Now she is also full of fear for Namikaze Kirito. He was already sitting on the ground, his legs were weak, and he couldn't stand up at all. At this time, the golden titan let out a roar, and then looked at the ant like Namikaze Kirito on the ground. Namikaze Kirito. Even if you are the strongest in the world, I will never allow you to look at me with that kind of contempt. I am the Golden Emperor, and the world will belong to me. Advertisement. The Golden Titan started to act while talking, and with the action of the Golden Titan, the whole ship swayed a little. After all, it is made of pure gold, and its weight and hardness are simply too strong. Golden Divine Fire. A pair of eyes of the Golden Titan emitted 2 laser beams, both in power and shape, like Kizaru's laser beams. Whoosh! 2 lasers approached Namikaze Kirito. Boom! With a loud bang, the laser burned the ground into a scorched black, and a mushroom cloud was formed due to the explosion. After a while, the dust cleared, and the appearance of Namikaze Kirito emerged in front of everyone's eyes. At this time, he was not injured at all, and even his clothes did not have any burnt marks. Now he doesn't even need to use any abilities to face this kind of attack, but his physique can completely block it. Use your full strength, Tezzolo, such a temptation is meaningless to me. Hearing this, Tezzolo became even more furious. Even though what Namikaze Kirito said was true, Tezzolo felt deeply insulted when he heard the other person's words. This is the shadow in his heart. Even though he has been called the Golden Emperor by the world, even if he owns 20% of the world's money, in the final analysis, he is still the Gilder Tetzolo who had nothing and was trampled underfoot. Gion Vice Admiral Wang Zhao. At this moment, CP0 came to Momosagi and said softly, I hope you can help Tezzolo. Let's take action together to take down the sinner Namikaze Kirito. This is the order of the 5 elders. Momosagi didn't speak, and Mamo was still watching the situation on the field. To be honest, he and she didn't have the slightest affection for the cipher pole of the world government, including the celestial dragons. He even remembered that the reason why Marine would tear off so many people was entirely because the 3 celestial dragons were used to being domineering, but when they met Namikaze Kirito, they directly put this kind of powerhouse on the opposite side of the world government. CP0 looked at Momosagi's hand that clenched the handle of the knife. Although he didn't get a response, he knew that Momosagi would definitely make a move at the critical moment. The Marine has always been like this, no matter how disgusted the world government and the orders issued by the celestial dragons. But it will still be implemented, including the original 7 warlords of the Sea Plan. Chapter 233. The plan failed. The Golden Titan stretched out his right fist, because his body was too huge, so in the eyes of others, his movements were unusually slow. However, Namikaze Kirito has no intention of making a first move. He wants to completely break a person's psychological defense and make the opponent despair when he is most proud. Only in this way can he achieve his ultimate goal. This is also the reason why he did not untie the golden shackles under his hands. Otherwise, Shiryu of the Rain, Lockdar and Doflamingo, among these people, who has a good character. If it was untied for a moment, it is estimated that several of them would rush forward together and tear Tezzolo into pieces. Tezzolo's strength is at the Shichibukai level, and his 3 subordinates all have the strength of the upper Shichibukai. If they join hands, Tezzolo can hold on for a short time. But after a long time, there is no need to think about it, and it will disappear in this world directly. When Namikaze Kirito came to the Golden City, the largest entertainment city, he had already set his sights on it. He also told Nico Robin that if he wants to turn this place into his own territory, how can he not keep his word? If Tezzolo is killed casually, who will manage the huge territory? The yellow 997 Golden City is not called the Golden City because of the giant ship, but because of Tezzolo, so it can be called the Golden City. In just over 10 years, he can start from scratch and own 20% of the world's money. This is definitely a talent. In the arena, the raised right fist of the Golden Titan had already started to turn red, emitting billowing steam. The right fist that was originally made of gold showed signs of melting at this moment, looking like magma. Financial Fire. This is the move that fired the laser just now to completely heat the gold on his right fist. It even has the power of a laser. It can be said that Tezzolo really began to use his full strength. Gold Industry Fire. FF. The huge golden fist carried billowing steam, roaring directly towards the ground. Seeing this, Namikaze Kirito showed a smile in his eyes. He likes this kind of head-to-head feeling. Then he also raised a fist, kicked his feet on the ground, and then pulled it out flat, shooting his body into the air like a sharp arrow. Finally, Rian and Xiao's 2 fists came together. This time Namikaze, a dodge. Kirito did not use the ability to shake the fruit, but was experimenting with a new power. Advertisement Tyrant, that is, to wrap the Conqueror's hockey around his fist, and at the moment his fist is flashing with red-black lightning. Boom! The 2 fists collided, and the huge ship shook violently. The surrounding buildings were all shattered by the airwaves, and a huge wave of 100 meters was set off on the sea in the distance. The originally dark sky was chilled by the light caused by the collision between the 2. It's now, Momosagi has been patient for a long time, just waiting for a chance to kill with one blow. She is a marine, not a pure swordsman, and her status prevents her from adhering to any one-on-one principle. And she is very clear about the gold content of the title of World's Strongest. In a head-to-head confrontation, she has no chance, so she chooses to sneak attack at the moment when Namikaze Kirito and Tezulo are fisting each other. Moonwalk. Bang bang bang. Momoshage used Marine 6 styles, directly stepped on the air and floated in the air, holding Jin Kunluo's knife handle tightly with her jade hand. In her eyes, the world seems to have quieted down, and only Namikaze Kirito is in her beautiful eyes. Swish. A 100-meter-high fan knife light suddenly appeared. Momoshage used all his strength as soon as he came up, thinking that even if he couldn't kill the opponent, he could still slash Namikaze Kirito, so that he could have a chance to defeat him. Men in suits from the world government also came out of Marine 6 styles one after another. These are all brought out by CP0, and of course they're all elites. Seeing that Momoshage made a move, they all seized the opportunity, and everyone used their abilities to attack. The moment Momoshage slowly fell to the ground, she suddenly saw the smile on the corner of Fung Kirito's mouth. He already guessed it. I saw Namikaze Kirito, who was punching Tezulo in midair, pushed forward and bombed again. Countless black and red lightning wrapped around his body, and with a loud noise, the Golden Titan's right fist shattered directly, and even the cracks were gradually covering his whole body. After a while, Tezulo, covered in blood, fell to the ground. There was a splash of fly ash. Advertisement facing the oncoming pink sword light and the strange abilities of countless people, Namikaze Kirito had a smirk on his face. Momoshage and the people of the world government were surprised to find that a shady scene appeared around them at some point. Just when everyone was still thinking about what the shady was doing. A huge black curtain also appeared in front of Namikaze Kirito, and countless attacks were directly involved in it. Not good. Doflamingo, he handed it to me, my knife hasn't sucked blood for a long time. In a panic, Momoshage could only raise Jin Kunluo to block in front of him. At this moment, pink saber light also appeared from the shady scene and hit Jin Kunluo directly. Namikaze Kirito couldn't let his plan be stopped. He directly used the ability of Dark Fruit. The sharp sand blade disappeared immediately, and everyone looked at his captain strangely. Tezulo was seriously injured now. If he was directly cut by the sharp sand blade, he would definitely be split in half without accident. Fur. Damn it, now it's time for me to take my revenge. It was even worse for the elites of the world government. They didn't guess what the shady was doing, and they didn't have the quick reaction of Momoshage. As soon as these words came out, the three of Doflamingo fell into speechlessness. Desert Sword. I don't know why Tezulo was not allowed to be killed. And Namikaze Kirito also fell directly to the ground, and the moment he landed on the ground, he untied several of his subordinates. A sharp sand blade sliced through the ground and directly attacked Tezulo's position. It seems that this guy Tezulo was taken by the captain. What a lucky B*****************. Just as Shiryu and Doflamingo were still discussing Tezulo's ownership at the time of the rain, K. Lokadar didn't talk nonsense, and directly stretched out his hand covered with yellow sand, and then waved it violently. In the end, most people died directly under their own attacks. It was too late to react, and the clever Momoshage probably guessed what the shady around her was, because she had already found her familiar aura and a hint of pink in the shady. Some people are more important alive than dead. Besides, don't you think his character is also very bad? How similar to you. This was the slash Momoshage sent out with all her strength before, and even she herself didn't block it. Numerous scars appeared on her body, and she was then sent flying by the sword light. Although we know that our character is bad, you don't have to say it directly to your face. Chapter 234 I'm plotting against myself. Although he wants to live, for others, you can figure it out yourself. Knowing that his companions were all on fire, Namikaze Kirito looked at the people in the world government around him and CP0 who was watching him and others vigilantly not far away, and signaled Shiryu of the Rain and others to do whatever they wanted. As soon as these words came out, Shiryu's eyes were filled with murderous intent again. The knife in his hand hadn't been stained with blood for a long time. Now is the right time. In order to prevent others from snatching his gift, he directly turned into a bloody figure. The knife flashed, and countless men in suits fell to the ground. Not even a single body was whole, all had been chopped into pieces. Doflamingo also directly manipulated his own string fruit and began to play, but Locked Doll was not so leisurely and elegant. Although he is equally ruthless, but in the face of this situation, several people do not need to join forces. It's just a group of miscellaneous fish, it doesn't matter if you don't shoot tilde. Seeing the frenzied massacre of the subordinates he brought, CP0 finally began to feel fear in his heart. In the past, he had been going smoothly, and no one had dared to take action against the cipher pole of the world government, especially the top level of the CP organization, CP0. As a result, he met this group of people today without the slightest estimate. He is even a world-renowned powerhouse, and the reason why he can still stand here is entirely because he did not make a move when he attacked Namikaze Kirito just now. He wanted to wait for the opponent to be seriously injured before going up to make up the knife, so Huangquan Bilunsuka's moves counterattacked and did not apply to him. Whoosh! Just when CP0 was still thinking about how to escape from this predicament, Shiryu of the Rain appeared directly in front of him. Hundreds of men in suits were killed by Namikaze Kirito, and the remaining people were simply not enough for him and Doflamingo. At this moment, I haven't had the most fun killing yet. You. What are you going to do? I am the highest cipher pole of the world government. If you kill me, you will definitely. Pooh. Before CP0 finished speaking, the sound of the knife piercing into the flesh sounded. He lowered his head in disbelief, and saw that the knife in Shiryu's hand had pierced his abdomen. The grinning man in front of him even used the knife in his body to spin around a few times. It is estimated that the abdominal organs must have been broken into pieces. Advertisement, hee. World government. I've hated those bastards for a long time, I'll take you first. Shiryu of the Rain laughed twice, and then waved the knife in his hand casually. Within 3 seconds, the knife returned to its sheath, and the moment Shiryu of the Rain turned around, CP0's body, which was still standing there, fell to pieces and fell to the ground. Seeing this scene, Nico Robin, who had already been released from the restraint state, was a little pale, and her stomach was churning crazily, but she was used to the darkness since she was a child, and she still held on. As for the others, including Boa Hancock, they didn't feel any discomfort. Doflamingo and Locke are because they are cruel in the same way, while Boa Hancock is because she doesn't care. Men are like minced meat in her eyes. The only thing that can make her heart move and promise her with her body is the man with red hair and black clothes beside her. At this time, Namikaze Kirito was looking at the sea in the distance, where there was a small boat sailing crazily to the distance. It's Momosagi's ship. Before, there was a marine who was hiding in the dark and did not show up. When Momosagi was sent flying by his own sword energy and suffered a lot of injuries, that marine took Momosagi onto the boat and jumped directly into the distance. Actually escaped. Namikaze Kirito had a slight smile on his face. He didn't have any bad feelings towards Marine, and of course, he didn't have a good impression either, otherwise he wouldn't have directly killed more than half of the Marines in the Summit War. But the account still has to be settled. I saw Tesoro Namikaze Minato who was lying on the ground not far away, walking slowly towards his side. Cough cough. Poof. Tezuolo propped himself up against a rock, and after coughing up a few mouthfuls of blood, he panted heavily. The collision of fists just now made him feel that his internal organs were smashed into pieces. Let alone the ability to activate now, it is impossible to stand up. Seeing the man whom I plotted towards me step by step, I don't know why, but I felt a sense of relief in my heart. Maybe he is thinking now that if he dies, he will be able to see Stella. Soon, Namikaze Kirito came in front of Tezuolo, looking down at him. Advertisement 0. Ask for flowers, Golden Emperor. I have to say that you have enough ambition and ability, but unfortunately, you don't have the strength to match it. He. Ha 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 ha. Cough cough. Hearing this, Tezuolo laughed crazily, but because of the big movements, he coughed violently again. As expected. As expected of being the strongest in the world, it seems that you knew my calculations from the very beginning, right? But you were able to endure until the end, defeating me at my most proud moment. What a wicked joke, guy. But it doesn't matter, kill me, Namikaze Kirito, but I have a request. It's not a request, it's a suggestion. Oh, Namikaze Kirito smiled and said, let's hear it. You have also seen that this time, not only me, but also the world government, after you kill me. I hope you don't forget them, absolutely, definitely don't let those bastards have a good time. When he said this, Tezuolo's face had become ferocious and distorted. Doing Namikaze Kirito in exchange for the celestial dragons of the world government is only his first step. If he succeeds, he will be able to avenge Stella. Of course, the title of the world's strongest is not obtained casually, and Tezuolo also thought about the end of failure. It was nothing more than death, but what he got was Namikaze Kirito's revenge on the world government. It was Tezuolo's wish to hurt those B************ D celestial dragons. So no matter how he thinks about it, he can make money with this plan. Fufurfur. Not far away, Doflamingo also laughed out loud when he heard what Tezuolo said. He can now understand the plan of his partner. After all, he is also a businessman, and one of the largest black businessmen in the underground world. Like Tezuolo, there is no small amount of hatred for the celestial dragons. Tezuolo, you guy, did you actually count yourself in? Tisk tisk tisk, what a scary guy, Fufurofer. Namikaze Kirito looked at Tezuolo, who wanted to die, and the smile on his face increased instead of diminishing. He appreciates what the other party has done, and only such a person is qualified to be his companion. In the Hokage world, the mysterious will can speak, and there are still many worlds waiting for his arrival and awakening. Chapter 235 Rinne Tensei of One Piece World. Leaving aside the worlds of Hokage and pirates, what if it is Shinigami, American comics, or Dragon Ball, Hakoniwa, or other worlds? You know, there are many worlds imagined by people in Blue Star, and they even involve the cosmic level. At that time, the enemies that Namikaze Kirito will face will not be so simple. It is not easy for people to destroy the planet casually without using their combat power. It is not easy to show the courage of one person. At this time, a group of strong partners is needed. Orochimaru, Kimimaro, Uchiha Itachi in the Hokage world, Doflamingo in this world, Shiryu in the Rain, and Kei Lakadar are all perfect companions. Without him, these people have a strong mind. In terms of power, Namikaze Kirito with Dark Fruit can give stronger power. Therefore, his request for 810 in choosing a companion is not simply based on strength, but mainly on ability. Tezuolo in front of him, in order to get revenge, the unleashed potential is not so simple. This pirate world is firmly controlled by the world government, and even emptied 100 years of history. Under such circumstances, a slave who escaped from the Holy Land was able to establish such a large industry, owning 20% of the world's money. In the end, he found that there was a chance for revenge, and he did not hesitate to count himself into it. Opportunities are not reserved for those who are prepared, but for those who are prepared and can seize the opportunity. Obviously, Tezulo is such a person, so Namikaze Kirito now looks at him with eyes full of admiration. Tezulo, join me. Originally Tezulo had closed his eyes, waiting for death to come, but when he heard this sentence, he opened his eyes subconsciously, and saw the outstretched hand in front of him. Joining you? No, I don't exist anymore. As he spoke, Tezulo looked at the surrounding ruins, as well as that CP0's body on the ground. The cooperation with the world government ended in failure this time. If there is no accident, he will be rewarded with 1 celestial dragons based on the request he made to the world government. It's enough for the world government to find a reason to do something here. The previous world government completely wanted to get money from the golden city of Tezulo. Now Tezulo has developed the golden city to its peak, and those old guys in the Holy Land are worried that they can't find a reason to start here. Advertisement now. I am afraid that when Tezulo dies, the world government will send someone to take over this golden city. Meaning? Huh. Facing Tezulo's despair, Namikaze Kirito sneered. Is this city the meaning of your life? You shouldn't be such a patriotic person, Golden Emperor? Hearing Namikaze Kirito's mocking tone, Tezulo didn't show any anger. He seems to have lost everything now. This city is not the meaning of my life. It is just a weapon I have prepared against the world government. This weapon will soon no longer be mine. I have no means to retaliate against them. What's the use of being alive? Revenge on the world government. Let me think about it. Your revenge on the world government is nothing more than for your beloved, right? What is it called, Stella? As soon as Stella came out, Tezulo's eyes widened. You? How could you possibly know that name? Don't be so surprised. I know more things than you think. By the way, let me show you something interesting. As he spoke, Huang Shenban was moved. A big head of black, or rather a corpse, fell out of the black screen. Seeing the dilapidated corpse, Tezulo and Carla not far away were startled. This is Mr. Tanaka, who was killed by the Namikaze Prime Minister before. No wonder after a group of men went down, they didn't see the corpse. It was all here in Namikaze Kirito. Not to mention the two of them, even Doflamingo's subordinates, including Nico Robin and Boa Hancock, surrounded him. They also didn't understand the meaning of Namikaze Kirito taking out the corpse. Looking at the dilapidated corpse in front of him, he was obviously dead. There were several huge holes in the stomach, and all the internal organs should have been drained. Next, widen your eyes and let you see my true power. As he spoke, several black lines appeared on Namikaze Kirito's face. The eyes also began to sparkle with gold light. There's no way. The world is frantically suppressing the power of Namikaze Kirito. He can only use all his strength to fight against the world order. Because of this, the 100 healings mark was passively activated. Advertisement. Heretic. Rinne Tensai technique. A deliberate white light suddenly gushed out from Namikaze Kirito's body, illuminating the endless night like day. Soon, the white light began to blend into Mr. Tanaka's body. Under everyone's shocking eyes, Mr. Tanaka's dilapidated corpse is slowly being repaired. White light completely enveloped his body. Boss, where's this? I remember I was in. Just reviving a person is so tiring. If you directly revive a village person like in the Hokage world, you won't be killed directly. More than half of the power in Namikaze Kirito's body has been taken away. It has to be said that the suppression of the world order is simply too strong. What did you do? If you can really do it, no matter what price you pay, you will not hesitate. Is it really possible? Is it really possible? Tezulo originally wished for death, but seeing a miracle appearing in front of his eyes, now he only wants Stella to be resurrected. Aren't I dead? How can a person who is clearly dead come back to life suddenly? There is not even a trace of wound. Stella can be resurrected. Really? After a while, Mr. Tanaka actually opened his eyes. Mr. Tanaka's eyes widened directly, and then an emotion called fear made him almost suffocate. Just when he was about to say that he was being tortured by Namikaze Kirito, he suddenly saw a familiar face beside him. After all, the word Stella was mentioned just now. Not to mention him, the people around counted as one, all watching the incredible scene in front of them. Because of his excitement, Tezulo stood up directly regardless of his injuries, which also caused him to spit out blood, but now he had no time to pay attention to his body at all. Instead he asked loudly. Facing Tezulo's excited inquiry, Namikaze Kirito said softly, I have long mastered the power of all phenomena, and it is not a big problem to revive a person. What you see is the truth. Tezulo rubbed his eyes, wanting to make sure all this was real. He seemed to understand what Namikaze Kirito meant. Chapter 236 Are you a god? Isn't my ability already shown in front of your eyes? Namikaze Kirito did not directly answer Tezulo's question, but pointed to Mr. Tanaka who was still confused, and said softly. Resurrection? Can it really be resurrected, Stella? Just now, Mr. Tanaka was clearly a corpse, because the internal organs were all crushed and drained, so what Namikaze Kirito showed could not be the ability to heal at all. This is definitely the ability to resurrect the dead. However, Tezulo has been running the Golden City for so many years and has a strong network of relationships. He has never heard of any kind of devil fruit that can resurrect the dead. Not to mention Tezulo, Doflamingo has already fallen into a state of bewilderment. He is heavenly Yaksha, and even the former celestial dragons. As a big black merchant in the underground world, his intelligence is no worse than that of the world government. For so many years, I also know that an op fruit can make people live forever. That comes at a huge price. For example, now that op fruit is on Luo, if Doflamingo wants to never die, he can only let Luo activate the ability of op fruit. Ultimate surgery. In this way, Doflamingo will gain the ability of longevity, and the price is the life of the caster. Originally, according to his plan, he was to get the O3 Op fruit, and then let his most loyal subordinates eat it. In the end, the ultimate operation was launched. Who knows, the appearance of Corazon, his own brother, made his plan come to naught. For so many years, he has not given up on chasing and killing Luo, just because of that Op fruit's ability. Now seeing with his own eyes, in front of him, someone can actually bring the dead back to life, this is simply subverting his three views. At the same time, his heart was full of fanaticism. Sure enough, following Namikaze Kirito is the most correct choice, and the ability to resurrect the dead can already change the world. What's more, Doflamingo will become what he is today, which is inseparable from his mother's death. If the captain's ability can be activated unconditionally, does that mean that he can see his deceased relatives? Doflamingo is not alone in thinking the same way. The same is true for Nico Robin, she now has a group of reliable partners, and her frozen heart is gradually melting. But I have to admit that the demise of her hometown Ohara and the death of her own mother have always been hurdles in her heart that she has never been able to overcome. Advertisement seeing the birth of the miracle with her own eyes, she was the one who was most excited. Is it really possible? Bring the dead back to life? Everyone in Ohara and mother, will we meet again one day? Thinking of this, Nico Robin's beautiful eyes were full of spring water, he bit his lower lip tightly, trying not to let the crystals flow out. Seeing Namikaze Kirito's slightly weak look at this time, Nico Robin knew that there would definitely be a price for reviving a person, otherwise how could he change the rules of the world so easily? That yourself. Is there anything worth trading? Ancient weapon? Looking at Namikaze Kirito's combat power at this moment, everyone knows that he doesn't need that kind of thing at all. But apart from historical texts, I have nothing worth trading. Namikaze Kirito is not a saint, how could he pay the price unconditionally for her? The more I thought about it, the more anxious I became. Originally, if Nico Robin hadn't seen this miraculous scene, he wouldn't have such a heart. As a result, now, the opportunity to revive her relatives is presented before her eyes, how could she endure it? Just when Nico Robin's brain was running wildly, he suddenly saw Boa Hancock with a nympho face. As if thinking of something, a blush flashed across her pretty face. After hearing Namikaze Kirito's words, Tezulo cried and laughed for a while, as if he was crazy. Stella is the white moonlight in his heart and the motivation for him to live. Otherwise, for the sake of revenge, he would not count his life, including his own. How'd I? You will revive her. Even though Tezulo spoke calmly when he said this, he could still feel his trembling mood at this moment. Namikaze Kirito glanced at him first, and then said lightly, my resurrection ability is still growing. At present, I need the corpse of the resurrected person. Can you do it? As soon as this remark came out, Tezulo directly fell into deeper despair. Corpse? Stella has been dead for so many years, in the Holy Land, where to find the corpse, in Celestial Dragons B********* D style. I guess the bones are gone now. Advertisement also desperate as Nico Robin, who was thinking about whether to trade herself for that sliver of possibility. As a result, it is now said that the prerequisite for resurrection is a corpse. Ohara is now in ruins, and the island is even fragmented. Where do you go to find the dead bodies of your loved ones? Seeing Tezulo's powerlessness, Namikaze Kirito raised a wicked smile. I said, it's just for now, my ability is constantly recovering. When the conditions are fulfilled, there is no need for a corpse, and you can even choose the appearance of the opponent when it is resurrected, that is to say. After being resurrected, she will have a brand new body, and the previous torture will not be inherited. Tezulo looked up at Namikaze Kirito, he knew what he was talking about, the dragon's hoofmark and Stella's torture in the holy place. 440. Can these all be resolved? Nico Robin also secretly heaved a sigh of relief, and his heart that had been silent became active again. It seems that my relatives can still be resurrected. Doflamingo and Lockdar on the side didn't think about these things, both of them were smart people, and two words in what Namikaze Kirito said just now made them fall into shock. Recover? In other words, his own captain used to have a stronger strength? He is still in the recovery period? Otherwise, it should be about growth, and it is too much to restore the meaning of these two words. If Namikaze Kirito has stronger strength, then why has he never heard the other party's name in the sea for so many years? There are only two possibilities, one is that Namikaze Kirito is active in that blank century of history. After all, there was no news about that period of history, if so, it is still being cleaned up. As for the youthful-looking face, it is not difficult to imagine, even with the ability to resurrect others, it should not be difficult to live forever. Of course, there is a second possibility, that Namikaze Kirito does not belong to this world. As soon as this idea came out, cold sweat broke out on Doflamingo's forehead, because there was a scene in front of him that he couldn't understand. Are you a god? Chapter 237, Golden City acquired? What price do I have to pay? After experiencing great joy and sorrow, Tezulo has calmed down. What he said was also full of reason, since Namikaze Kirito showed this ability in front of his eyes and told him that he could resurrect Stella in the future. Then there must be a purpose. After all, no one asks about your obsession in a malicious manner, then shows you the ability to help you, and finally tells you, just to tease you. Hey, I'm just playing, that's impossible, so Tezulo now wants to know what the man in front of him wants. Adding his sentence is really too general, and there is no clear purpose. I want your complete loyalty. After you join me, subvert the whole world with me. At that time, I will give you everything you want. Of course, this entertainment city will now belong to me. Can. Without any hesitation, Tezuolo nodded directly in agreement. This entertainment city, or his own life, would be worthless without Stella. It's just these things that can be exchanged for Stella, which is a suitable deal no matter what you think. Oh, it seems that you understand. That's good, we are companions. Saying that, Namikaze Kirito walked towards other buildings in the distance with his arms around Boa Hancock. Now in the entire entertainment city, because some people have all run away. So, basically you can live anywhere you want. After Namikaze Kirito left, Doflamingo looked at Tezuolo and laughed. Fooferfer. Tezuolo, you be ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* seems that we can't deal with it. You made a move, Tilda. Doflamingo. I will give you an account of this matter. As he said that, Tezzolo, with the support of Mr. Tanaka, also went to find a place to heal his injuries. Bar Carla, who was sitting paralyzed on the ground, immediately stood up and left one after another. Only Nico Robin has been watching Namikaze Kirito's leaving back. His beautiful eyes are a little dazed, and he doesn't know what he is thinking about. 3 days later, another piece of news that shocked the world came out of the sea. Advertisement World Government united with Golden City to fight against 4 emperors Namikaze Kirito, but lost to 4 emperors, and was rescued because of time to avoid serious injuries. Cypher Pole's personnel were wiped out. Moreover, Golden City also announced that it will reopen and merge into Namikaze Kirito's banner. As soon as this news came out, it once again proved the powerful combat power of Namikaze Kirito. What is even more surprising is that Golden City has been merged into Namikaze Kirito. Originally, as the newly promoted 4 emperors, Namikaze Kirito didn't mean to grab the territory. Because of the fall of Whitebeard, New World directly caused confusion everywhere. Some people even think that Namikaze Kirito never thought about being a pirate. After all, he doesn't even have a pirate flag. As a result, the current incident in the Golden City has directly frightened the pirates in New World, for fear that the day Namikaze Kirito enters New World, he will integrate the various sites. Different from what pirates think about, all parties are troubled by Huang Li's matter. Fortunately, Tezzolo bought a newspaper, saying that everything in the Golden City will remain the same, and no matter what his status is here, he can't do anything. It is still the largest entertainment city in the world. All forces are welcome to come and have fun. Holy Land, Marijoy. The 5 elders were getting together at this time, and they received the news the first time their plan failed. However, regarding Namikaze Kirito, 3 days of discussions have still not resulted. What they are more worried about now is that Namikaze Kirito will trouble the world government. After all, the espionage organization CP0 is the face of the world government, and it has already attacked Namikaze Kirito. According to his character of vengeance, this matter will never end. It's been discussed for 3 days. It's just one person. How much should we be afraid of him? Now he has become a climate, and we simply can't spare any manpower to deal with him. Where is Marine? Let all Marines go out. Kill that sinner who despises the world government directly. Don't talk about it. At present, dispatching the strongest of the 5 Marines may not be able to win him.
If 5 are not enough, go to 10. 10 is not enough. Just go with everyone. This matter must be resolved.
The question now is, what form will he take to retaliate? We have to think about it. Don't bother Lord I Am anymore. If it really doesn't work, just use that one. Advertisement. Second. It's decided. Bang bang bang. Before the 5 of them finished their discussion, there was a hasty knock on the door. As long as the 5 elders suppressed their anger, after all, if they dared to disturb them at this time, it would definitely be a big event. Come in. There was strong anger and confidence trembling in the eyes of the 5 people. Even using the Holy Land as a threat. You still want to come to the Holy Land? You're purely looking for death. Tell Marine, let them take pictures of their combat power, and we have to prepare for it. It was as if they didn't take the world government seriously, and all the 5 elders, Li Wangchao, became angry at this moment. HMPH, since he wants to come, let him come here, and take a look at what this man is capable of. In the most eye-catching place above, a paragraph appeared. Except for that B************ D Fisher Tiger who sneaked onto the Holy Land, we have never suffered such serious humiliation. Back then, Fisher Tiger was killed. Now, you Namikaze Kirito can't escape either. What an arrogant fellow. Needless to say, the anger is entirely due to Namikaze Kirito's blatant provocation. You know, this is a message in a newspaper, which means that people all over the world can see it. It is estimated that there are countless evil parties waiting to see their world government jokes, especially those damn revolutionary troops. Can't wait to kill Namikaze Kirito right now. Namikaze Kirito. A few days ago, I thanked the world government for the gift. After thinking about it, I plan to return the gift. The location of the gift is in the Holy Land. After 3 days, I will go to the Holy Land. I hope you will like this gift. Report. Lord 5 Elders. That sinner Namikaze Kirito has issued a statement. But 5 people know that this is unrealistic. Confidence is because the world government has stood for so long, and it must have a whole card, but there has been no one worthy of their use. World government has been established for so many years, even the Revolutionary Army only dares to make troubles in the dark. No one has ever publicly provoked world government so presumptuously. Under the suspicious eyes of the 5 people, his subordinates placed a newspaper in front of the table of the 5 people. This obvious threat directly made the 5 people's veins twitch. Chapter 238 Responses from all parties in the world. Now Namikaze Kirito has the qualifications for them to use their whole cards. In other words, if 5 elders didn't use their whole cards, they couldn't deal with Namikaze Kirito at all. After all, they all said they would give gifts to the Holy Land. It is said that it is a gift. Who does not know that this is to bring a bloody storm to the Holy Land? Newspapers have spread all over the world with the carrier pigeons, and all forces, including the people, have received such news. Because Namikaze Kirito is said by the world government to be the most vicious criminal in the world. A part of the public is full of worries. They have never seen a criminal who dared to openly yell at the world government. Namikaze seems to have broken their common sense. The people are like this, and the world government is an organization that controls and manages the world. So no matter what the truth is in front of them, they will still choose to believe in marine and world government. To say that Namikaze Kirito is a villain must be a villain. But there are still some people who support Namikaze Kirito in their hearts, especially the people of Sabaody Archipelago. Being oppressed by celestial dragons all the year round, their hearts have long been filled with raging fire. Finally, there is a person who has the strength to confront these high-ranking world nobles head-on. If 120 is not afraid of being hated by those people, they can't wait to take to the streets to pull up banners to show that they are on Namikaze Kirito's side. New World, on an unknown path. Red-haired Shanks was holding today's newspaper and reading. His originally handsome face was now clouded. Vice President Beckman was smoking a cigarette next to the redhead. Shanks, you can't control this matter, don't get meddled anymore, otherwise Namikaze Kirito's vengeful character will definitely bring disaster to New World. Hearing Beckman's words, Shanks nodded uncompromisingly. Then he sighed helplessly. Can't the world government let me rest for a few days? The summit war has just ended, and we haven't cleaned up the mess in New World yet. They can't wait to provoke Namikaze Kirito. It's really troublesome. Beckman checked the newspaper, looked at the declaration issued by Namikaze Kirito on it, and said, it has to be said that the sudden appearance of Namikaze Kirito caused the whole world's storms to rise. I thought the summit war was already big enough, but now it's going to be a holy place. It's a terrible guy. Advertisement, but such a person should not appear on this sea. The red-haired Shanks said with a serious face, the originally stable world structure is suddenly broken by such a powerful force. No one knows what will happen. In short, it is definitely not a good thing. It is not the time yet, and it should not be like this. Quick. In the original book, the red-haired Shanks is also such a person who pays attention to the world pattern and does not want the balance to be broken. In his cognition, the world pattern needs to be broken step by step. Especially Monkey D. Luffy, the chosen one, because he saw the shadow of the Pirate King D. Roger in Luffy, so he hoped that the world could be changed because of Luffy. In his eyes, Namikaze Kirito is completely different, with a freewheeling personality, decisive means of killing, coupled with strong power. It is definitely an unstable factor. He even considered whether to pull a group of forces together, just like Roger and Marine teamed up to defeat the Rocks many years ago. Isn't it also because of the huge ambition of Rocks? Beckman's IQ is super high, and he understands the character of his own captain. Hearing what Shanks said, he understands what he wants to do. But he also thought so he didn't say anything to stop him. From the perspective of others, Namikaze Kirito's fighting power is simply too weird and terrifying. No one has ever been able to resist the combination of two admirals. But don't say resist, they directly defeated, okay? Even if Marine dispatched 5 admiral-level combat forces, Namikaze Kirito was not injured. If it wasn't for the appearance of red hair pirates in the end, the outcome of this match is still uncertain. Wano-kuni, in a ADBG cave, Kaido was listening to his subordinate's report, and drank a few sips of wine. Namikaze Kirito, backbone guy, but, boom, with a loud noise, Kaido directly punched a huge hole in the mountain wall. He was still smiling a second ago, but his face was full of anger this second. The biggest war in the world should be started by labor and capital. What a holy place, what a marine. What a disgusting guy, come to steal the limelight from labor and capital. Seeing the furious Kaido, his subordinates trembled and tried to persuade him. Boss Kaido, boss. Namikaze Kirito, isn't it a good thing for him to meet the world government? This way we can also see how many tricks the world government has? Advertisement. Kaido glared at his subordinates. The powerful temperament directly made the subordinate who persuaded him almost faint. Do labor and management need to use that method? Soon, I will launch a war to subvert the world. By then, no matter what Namikaze Kirito or world government, they will all be killed. New world, all nations. 4 emperors. Big Mom looked at the newspaper in his hand, while feasting on the surrounding pastries. Namikaze Kirito, what a nice kid. Katakuri, what do you think of him? Known as the most perfect man, Katakuri is standing in front of his mother at the moment. His resolute eyes and fierce temperament all show perfection. Listening to Big Mom's words, Katakuri frowned rarely. Mom, this Namikaze Kirito's fighting power in the Summit War is too powerful. I'm afraid no matter the red hair, Kaido, including you may not be his opponent alone. Before Katakuri finished speaking, Big Mom directly put down the pastry in his hand, and a pair of huge eyes stared round. The saliva around his mouth also slowly dripped onto the ground, corroding the ground into deep pits. Big Mom's appearance. The children of the Big Mom pirates will probably know that when their mother is angry, they are all scared and trembling. Only Katakuri, without the slightest panic, still maintained his previous appearance. You mean, I'm no match for that brat, Katakuri? Yes, that's what I said, Mom. Katakuri nodded and said in a deep voice. Well. Big Mom not only did not blame Katakuri, but laughed out loud. I like your honesty, although I don't want to admit it, but that brat can fight against the combination of San Admiral and Garp Sengoku. I am indeed not his opponent. If such a guy can become my person, it would be perfect. Hearing what Big Mom said, Kotaku nodded in disbelief. Indeed, Big Mom has always had such a style. Chapter 239 Barbara Carla. The Big Mom pirate group can grow so strong, it is all because of the non-stop marriage. As long as it is a strong person or another race, you can either send your daughter, send your son, or go yourself. Anyway, there are many children, and the Big Mom is already old. Even though she looks at the photo on the Namikaze Kirito arrest warrant, she is very greedy. But she knew clearly that if she really proposed to be with Namikaze Kirito, things would not go smoothly. If you marry Namikaze Kirito, the status can't be too low, let smoothie go. As soon as these words came out, Katakuri's unchanging expression was a little surprise. Charlotte Smoothie, the 14th daughter of the Charlotte family, is one of the 3 dessert generals, and she is a powerful cadre in the family. He even has the status of Minister of Juice. Does my own mother actually want to use Smoothie as a bargaining chip? Hearing this proposal, Katakuri didn't say much, but turned his head indifferently, intending to tell Smoothie the news. At the same time, he became more and more disappointed with his mother. In the eyes of Big Mom, these children are just tools. There is no family affection in the Charlotte family. Treat your own children, and you can also draw lifespan at will. Therefore, many brothers and sisters will be lost in the hands of Big Mom, which makes Katakuri, who protects brothers and sisters, always angry. But not only is his son's identity imprisoning him, but also the fighting power of Big Mom is not something he can resist. Namikaze Kirito, if you can really suppress the world, I hope you have the opportunity to crush this disgusting banner. Katakuri walked outside, seeing the flags of the Big Mom pirates fluttering everywhere, he couldn't help but feel a little confused. At the same time, in the Golden King Hotel in the Golden City, Namikaze Kirito just woke up, beside Carla who was naked. That's right, the Golden King Hotel. For Tezzolo, who has the ability of Golden Fruit, after being healed by Namikaze Kirito with healing ninjutsu, he manipulated the gold and directly rebuilt the facilities of the Golden City. Not only that, but also more luxurious than before. Advertisement: the only difference is that the top floor of the Golden King Hotel is now exclusive to Namikaze Kirito. The bar Carla next to him was dedicated to Namikaze Kirito by Tezzolo as early as yesterday, and it is not appropriate to use it as a dedication. Barbara Carla is a smart woman, otherwise it would be impossible to follow Tezzolo for so many years, and the big men who have experienced various forces in the world can guarantee their innocence. Once in her room, that soft sandal mouth has been given to Namikaze Kirito, whether it is forced or voluntary, she has been tagged as Namikaze Kirito's private property. After, inadvertently, telling Tezzolo about this incident, Ba Carla also managed to come to Namikaze Kirito's room last night. It has to be said that smart people are powerful. Although it is the first time to have intimate contact with a man, Ba Carla still tries her best to please Namikaze Kirito. I am deeply afraid that the other party will be dissatisfied with something, and they will directly abandon themselves. At this time, Ba Carla also woke up leisurely, looking at the handsome man beside her. She couldn't help showing a trace of shame on her pretty face. Ha ha ha. Why are you still shy now? Weren't you very good before? Namikaze Kirito looked at Ba Carla's appearance, and couldn't help laughing, although Ba Carla would come over last night, although he didn't expect it. But he still accepted it directly. After all, it was a woman he had contact with, and Namikaze Kirito would not allow her to be with others in the future. So the relationship between the two is logical, but before Boa Hancock left, he looked at Carla with murderous eyes. Boom. Just when Ba Carla was about to say something, the door was suddenly opened, and Boa Hancock walked in from outside with an angry expression on his face. It's just that when those beautiful eyes looked at Namikaze Kirito, they were still full of fascination. You be ******** D stealing cat. How long are you going to stay here? Boa Hancock came directly to the bedside, and the aura exuded from his body made the decorations in the room electrify. My Lord Empress, I won't compete with you for master, I just hope to have a little place for me by his side. As a smart person, Barbara Carla certainly knows what to say and what not to say. The Empress is the most beautiful woman in the world, although Barbara Carla feels that she will not lose much to the other party in terms of appearance and figure. But, don't forget, besides the most beautiful woman in the world, Boa Hancock also has the title of Pirate Queen. 0. Ask for flowers. This title has nothing to do with appearance, but actual strength. Advertisement: Barbara Carla doesn't think she can wrestle with the Empress in terms of strength, so it's better to show her weakness. Of course, Namikaze Kirito can see Carla's careful thinking, but he won't tell the truth. The two are his own women, there is no doubt about it. As long as they don't know how to fight, they don't need to worry about it. Watching two beauties quarrel is also very enjoyable, isn't it? Honey, don't you want to be a concubine? Boa Hancock saw Ba Carla's pretentiously weak appearance, and lost the desire to talk more, and came directly to Namikaze Kirito's side, and threw himself into that warm embrace. How could it be? You will always be my person, and I will not let you go. Listening to Namikaze Kirito's gentle and domineering words, Boa Hancock's pretty face was full of satisfaction. She is a love brain through and through. No matter how bad the mood is, as long as you see your lover and listen to a few words from your lover, the cloudy and sunny will immediately turn. Looking at Carla, who is full of tenderness towards Boa Hancock, a trace of jealousy flashed in her beautiful eyes. But he still quickly picked up his cultural relics.
Master, my Lord Empress, please leave, you.
Just when Ba Carla endured the pain and was about to leave, a jade arm was directly held by Namikaze Kirito. Take a good rest today. Where will you go? From now on, your place will be by my side. Hearing this, Barbara Carla's face was full of disbelief. She originally thought that she was just doing it casually by Namikaze Kirito. Didn't realize he was serious. Do I have the qualifications to be by this man's side? But looking at Namikaze Kirito's deep eyes, Carla directly hid her head under the quilt, and when no one was paying attention, a crystal teardrop flowed from the corner of her eye. She also doesn't understand what's wrong with herself. If she likes Namikaze Kirito, she probably hasn't reached that point yet. It's definitely fear that takes the lion's share. But now Namikaze Kirito's words warmed her heart. Will my place be by your side in the future? Namikaze Kirito's words echoed in Carla's mind. After Namikaze Kirito got dressed, he stood by the bed, looking at the sea in the distance. Now it's time to give the gift to the Holy Land. Chapter 240. Waiting to see the excitement. 3 days later, Holy Land, Marijoy. Since 3 days ago, Namikaze Kirito issued a declaration to go to the Holy Land. The Holy Land has been completely busy these days. Not only the combat power of the world government itself, but even the Marines were drawn over by them. Naval headquarters has been sunk by Namikaze Kirito, and if Marijoy repeats the same tragedy, they will be nailed to the pillar of shame. This event is followed by the whole world. Although the full live broadcast was not started, there were quite a few ships in the waters near the Holy Land, and none of these ships were flying the pirate flag. Nonsense, now the world government has assembled countless combat forces, plus Marine, if the pirates come, isn't it self-inflicted? So even if the pirates want to join in the fun, they will pretend to be civilians. 427. No matter how overbearing your world government is, you won't be arrested by civilians and thrown into jail just because you watch the fun, right? If this is really done, once Namikaze Kirito wins the battle, the prestige of the world government will drop to freezing point in the whole world. If the combat power is not enough to deter others, but also tyranny, it will make the revolutionary army laugh directly. At this time, in the meeting room of the Holy Land, 5 elders, the current Marshal Sengoku of the Marines, and Kong, the commander-in-chief of the whole army, were discussing about Namikaze Kirito with a serious face. As for the 3 admirals, it has not yet reached this level. 3 admirals came this time, 1 Akainu and 1 Aokiji, and Kizaru stayed to guard the newly built naval headquarters. Otherwise, when Namikaze Kirito came to the Holy Land, if those New World lunatics took the opportunity to attack naval headquarters, it would be really ridiculous. Sengoku, tell me about Namikaze Kirito. You have fought him head-on, so you should know him better. The speaker with arms crossed is none other than Kong, the current commander-in-chief of the army, who was also the former marshal of the Marines, and Sengoku only took over after he left. So when facing Kong, Sengoku has infinite respect. Brother Sora, that Namikaze Kirito is the scariest guy I've ever seen, not only because of his strength, but also because of his age. Sengoku pushed his glasses, and said with a serious face, it looks like a young man in his 20s, he has already stood at the top of the sea, his fruit ability is too weird, I have checked it. Devil fruit illustration, although the above have similar abilities. Advertisement, but never in history has he shown such a strong side. Especially that big Senju Buddha statue. It is obviously useless for a strong player of this strategic level to use a numerical advantage, so he can only think of other ways. When it comes to the Senju Buddha statue, Sengoku can't help but fall into the memory. It was that one move, thousands of wooden hands shot it down directly, it was like the end of the world. Naval headquarters was also destroyed by that 1,000 blows. What made him even more sad was that those Marine soldiers who died under his hands were not a branch of Marine. Those are the elites of Marine, familiar faces died in front of me? There were even a few vice admirals who were buried under the hands of the Buddha statue. Marines suffered a heavy loss. No wonder Sengoku lamented that in the world of Hokage, the true several thousand hands used by Senju Hashirama already has the ability to change the map. What's more, Namikaze Kirito is used, and he has reached a world-class powerhouse. True several thousand hands is no longer comparable to Senju Hashirama, so even Vice Admiral, the experienced headquarters in Marine, still can't resist. Hearing this, Kong also had a heavy expression on his face. They are strong men who have guarded the sea since the last era, and they know each other very well. To make Sengoku, who is known as the resourceful general, speak so helplessly, is enough to see that Namikaze Kirito is already an unreasonable powerhouse. But Kong didn't worry too much. This time the world government has made up its mind, not only the 2 admirals from Marine, a marshal, even Garp has come over. Plus the commander-in-chief of the world government, and some strong men in Cypher Pole. There are even 5 elders. In terms of powerhouses, it is definitely not inferior to the configuration of Summit War. Kong knew that the 5 elders not only had absolute power, but their force was not weaker than anyone on the sea. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here. Advertisement. Of course, Kong doesn't know about Mr. Im's matter. This is news that only the 5 elders and some high-level officials can know. Kong is not at that level yet. While the 2 were talking, 5 elders also listened quietly and did not interrupt what Sengoku was saying. That evil party actually openly provokes the world government. Does it really think that we are made of mud? What a joke. The world government has stood for so many years, and no one has ever been so presumptuous and let us win over. That's right, we must take him down this time, otherwise, the face of our world government will be trampled on the ground. What can I do then? Do you have a better way? At this moment, the old man with blonde hair said softly, If we lose after exhausting everything, let's find a way to win him over and find a chance to find out the secret of why he is so strong. What about the face of the world government? Of course they know that the world government must have a trump card, but they don't know what the weapon they are talking about is. As soon as this remark came out, several people in the room fell into silence. Namikaze Minato can be famous in the sea and has done so many amazing feats. Even at this moment of crisis, 5 elders did not intend to tell the two of them the details. However, I'm considering another outcome, which is what if we lose this battle? I have already prepared that weapon. To ensure nothing goes wrong, if we fail, then use that weapon to stop him. Yes, they have been thinking about how to deal with Namikaze Minato, but they haven't thought about what will happen if they fail. It's just a mere 4.0 face, so what if we give it to him? As long as we can find out why he is so strong, things will turn around. It can be seen that the world government does not trust Marine that much. They can become rulers on the surface, but they are not idiots, and they will not look down on others like other celestial dragons. Looking at the 5 elders who fell silent, Kong and Sengoku exchanged glances. If you think about it with your mind, you will know that such a person is definitely not so easy to win. If they still have an arrogant attitude and have a contemptuous heart, they will definitely not be able to escape the fate of defeat. Chapter 241. A gift for you in return. Kong and Sengoku were used to this kind of treatment, so they didn't ask anything.
Although I am very dissatisfied with some decrees of the world government, the reason why Marine still absolutely abides by it is because of course that Marine is a combat force under the world government.
Even if the leader has made many mistakes and concealed many things, the subordinates have no room to argue. Most of the people who join Marine believe in justice and want to dedicate their blood to the current situation of the Great Pirate Era. So even though the world government, including the Celestial Dragons, violated justice, they still resolutely chose to join the Marine, just for the protection of the people. This is true of many Marines, such as Sengoku, Pooh et al. What about the ships in the surrounding waters? Sengoku, shoot Marine to clear them all. The 5 elders began to discuss what to do with the people watching around. Hearing this sentence, Sengoku stood up directly. Master 5 elders, you can't do this, although there are pirates inside, but there are people who really came to watch. HMPH. Even the people of Common, coming here to see how we failed, is equally unforgivable. 03. If you don't do it, I'll let Akainu do it. It is said that Sengoku almost gritted his teeth. There are eagles and doves in Marine. In fact, simply speaking, Sengoku does not belong to any faction. After all, he is a marshal. If he stands with any faction, the other faction will be hit. Marine needs doves and hawks, just like Shaolin Temple. Although it talks about mobilizing all living beings and convincing people with virtue, there are still monks who subdue demons. In the same way, if the people in Marine are all doves, it will lose their deterrent power. If they are all eagles, Marine will become the biggest evil force. Under such circumstances, once Akainu, the leader of the Eagle brand, received the order from the 5 elders, none of the ships that came to see the excitement would be able to escape. Akainu's absolute justice is the kind of absolute justice that would rather kill than let go. What's wrong? Sengoku, still standing here stupidly, you. Just as the 5 elders were about to continue to put pressure on Sengoku, the entire Malankoa suddenly sounded shrill sirens. Advertisement, Namikaze Minato, is he coming? Go out and fight. Hearing this, Sengoku and Kong stood up and walked outside. It has to be said that Sengoku was a little relieved at this time, and even had some inexplicable emotion wave when Kirito coming, otherwise 5 elders would really attack those people. In the Ohara incident, the reason why Sengoku asked Akainu to kill those civilians was entirely because he also understood the dangers of ancient weapon. Once it is found by some ambitious pirates, it will be a disaster for the whole world. This does not mean that Sengoku belongs to the Eagle brand. In the face of such a big issue, there is no need for factions. Even if the 5 elders don't order it, he will do it. But today, although there are pirates in these, there are also people, and these people are not as threatening to the world as Ohara scholars.
People are just here to watch the excitement. If the killer is really killed, can it still be called Marine?
Are you worthy of the word, justice, behind it? While Sengoku and Kong were walking in a hurry, Akainu and Aokiji from the Holy Land had already arrived at the scene. There are also Cypher Pole of the world government and Marine soldiers. At this time, in the mid-air not far away, a handsome figure was floating here, with indifferent eyes, as if looking down on all living beings. This scene made Akainu and Aokiji's pupils constrict. What's going on? How can he still have the ability to fly? Not only Blackbeard's dark fruit, Whitebeard's shock fruit, but now even Golden Lion's lion fruit has the ability?
Looking at the holy place below, Namikaze Minato couldn't help but be filled with emotion.
Of course he doesn't have the ability of the Golden Lion, and now he doesn't know where the Golden Lion went after being defeated by the Straw Hats. This is just Rinnegan's ability, and now his ability is gradually recovering. Rinnegan has not recovered yet, but the simple flying ability can be used long ago. It's just that the consumption is relatively large. However, thinking of the gift he brought to the Holy Land Maranjoya, if he had not recovered to his peak, it would be uncomfortable if he received this gift. Advertisement at this time, Sengoku and Kong also rushed over, seeing Namikaze Minato floating in midair, they couldn't help being shocked. It didn't take long to come back to God. Namikaze Minato, you're actually here. The Buddha must be crushed as soon as possible, otherwise it will be the Holy Land. This scene also made everyone fall into deep confusion. Lucky? Even the lucky fruit is in my hands now, not to mention the second time, I can do it the third time, of course, Let's hurry up and start today's topic 307. I won't be able to sleep if I don't give you a gift in return. What is he going to do? But after a while, Namikaze Minato kept his palms together, and no trees appeared. These few words made the faces of the people under the world government gloomy. At this moment, everyone on the ground suddenly felt that the sky was getting darker. It was clearly sunny, but how could it be cloudy all of a sudden? Seeing Namikaze Minato's movements, Sengoku and the others became vigilant for a while. They didn't know what the other party was going to do. If they summoned the Buddha that day again, they would have to go up together. Hearing this, everyone raised their heads and looked towards the sky. After all, Namikaze Minato folded his hands together, and a wave of gold energy visible to the naked eye spewed out from his body. Namikaze Minato, who was in the air, heard this and laughed out loud. Sengoku, I've said it all. If I want to send a gift to the world government, how can I do it myself? Namikaze Minato looked at everyone with a smile, and said softly, next, enjoy the gift I brought to you, Sengoku, Kong, and world government. How are you going to deal with it? However, Sengoku still didn't change his face. As the Marine Marshal, if his face is reddened by such a few simple ridicules, he should simply resign and quit. Just when Sengoku and Kong matched colors and planned to use Moonwalk to attack in midair, Namikaze Minato let go of his hand, and others could clearly see that his face was a little pale at this time. Then, what is that? I still want to thank you for giving me the Golden City. Remember to go and have fun when you are free. Namikaze Minato, it was indeed our negligence that the Golden City incident failed to take you down, but this kind of luck, you won't have a second chance. Looking up inadvertently, just this one glance directly made him sit on the ground. Chapter 242. In terms of raindrops, it is a bit too big. I saw that the originally clear sky was completely covered by darkness. Looking closely, it was a huge meteorite. The meteorite was so big that it even covered the entire Holy Land. At this time, the common soldiers kept swallowing their saliva one by one, and the weapons in their hands had already fallen to the ground without realizing it. Facing this kind of incident beyond common sense, it is strange to be able to keep calm. They have only one thought at the moment, that is, the Holy Land is about to be destroyed. Looking at the desperate soldiers below, Namikaze Minato's mouth twitched. In terms of raindrops, it seems a bit too big, but it is just right as a return gift for the world government. Not to mention the soldiers of common, even Sengoku, Kong and the two admirals frown. Is it Lion Fruit's ability? The Golden Lion used to use huge islands and ships to smash the enemy. I didn't expect Namikaze Minato to be even more terrifying, even meteorites. Damn the evil party, can't you stop it a little? Every time there is such a big fight. Sakazuki, Kuzan, this time we will work together again. Ah la, what a frightening little brother. Every time he appears, we have to recruit several people to resist him. If this continues, the old man in the room will not be able to sit still anymore. Sure enough, the evil party is the evil party. We must kill him here today. Facing the meteorite that covers the sky, although they are shocked, Sengoku and others have not yet reached the point of despair. After all, the golden lion that once galloped on the sea. This kind of move is also often used, causing troubles to the Marine branch and even the Marine headquarters, but they were finally resolved by them. At this moment, Garp came out of the house with sleepy eyes. What's the matter? Why is it dark? Did the old man sleep for so long? Seeing JGE's old and unscrupulous appearance, Sengoku didn't even get angry, and said angrily, Garp, you be asterisk D. Why don't you continue to sleep? When the Holy Land is destroyed, you just go to sleep in the sea. Ha 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 ha. Facing Sengoku's anger, Garp scratched the back of his head indifferently, and then also saw the meteorite covering the sky. The ability of that lion. Seriously, how many devil fruit abilities does Namikaze Minato have? Could it be that he can have multiple devil fruit abilities like that fellow Blackbeard? Advertisement, scary guy. Boom. The clouds were scattered, and huge meteorites fell directly. Seeing this situation, Sengoku and the others didn't hesitate any longer, and jumped into the air one by one with the yang step. In midair, Sengoku transformed into a golden Buddha form. Aokiji's body was covered in ice, and Akainu's body was wrapped in magma. Kong and Garp have bulging muscles, and their iron fists are covered with blue veins. The five people stepped directly on the air and came to the meteorite. This meteorite is not the small meteorite used by Fujitora in the original book, but the Tengai Shinsei in the world of Hokage. The Holy Land can be completely covered, and there is no room for five people to be careless. After the five people approached the meteorite, they started to attack with all their strength. They absolutely must not let the meteorite fall on the Holy Land. Because of their arrogance, the people in the Holy Land did not evacuate at all. Once the meteorite fell, the so-called nobles of the world are estimated to disappear in the world immediately. Not only that, all the high-level officials of the world government will also die. Boom 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 boom. There was constant roaring in midair, and scattered meteorites would fall down from time to time. The Marine soldiers could not deal with the huge meteorites, but small ones could still be dealt with. In order not to affect the Holy Land, the meteorite was directly shot down into the sea. This move will hurt the people watching the excitement in the surrounding sea area. Some ships were inexplicably hit by meteorites, and then all of them sank into the sea. At this urgent time, no Marine soldiers or cipher pull from the world government would care about these things. The first priority now is to protect the Holy Land. Boom boom. The roaring sound continued, and the huge meteorite was also visibly disintegrated by the naked eye. It can be said that he is indeed a top powerhouse standing in this world. In this world, the physical strength is really strong, and the strength he has cultivated by himself can take out this extraordinary natural disaster. Facing the crowd's attack, Namikaze Kirito didn't intend to take advantage of others' danger. He was just here to test this time. If he went directly to the Holy Land, there would be no need to use the move of Tengai Shinsei. Wouldn't it be faster to sneak in directly and kill them all over the place? Advertisement. After a long time, the roar in the sky ceased to sound, and 5 figures also fell from midair. At this time, although Sengoku and others were not exhausted, they were still out of breath. To maintain one's body in the air and hit the meteorite without any leverage, the difficulty is not to say that it is not high. Moonwalk can only use the air to jump into the air, not completely floating in the air. Why is Namikaze Kirito not making any moves? Logically, he should attack the Holy Land while we are attacking the meteorite. I didn't expect Namikaze Kirito to be fooled at all. Are you playing meteorites? Go and play, I'm here to watch. There's another meteorite, so if you want to stay in midair, Moonwalk can't stop, you have to keep going up into the air. He looked at Namikaze Kirito with the intention of continuing to admire. In other words, at the moment when his subordinates shouted, the sky darkened visible to the naked eye again. When he raised his head, he saw another equally huge meteorite falling down. Garp still had that nervous look at this moment, ignoring Sengoku's white eyes at the side. Sure enough, not only does he have super strength, but he is also not bad at all in terms of mind. After all, what he's targeting this time is the world government, and Garp himself can't get used to these tyrannical celestial dragons. Sengoku pushed the round eyes and said in a deep voice, "Li Nuahao, the reason why they didn't leave anyone to protect the Holy Land was entirely because it was unnecessary, or in other words, this was also a bureau for Namikaze Kirito. Although he had to guard the Holy Land because of his responsibilities, it didn't affect his appreciation of Namikaze Kirito, as if they had become friends when they faced Roger. I'm exhausted, really, can't this kid greet you properly? If he goes to the Holy Land at this time, he will face the full blow of the 5 elders' activated weapons. This is the trick that 5 elders used the phone bug to inform before everyone came out. Damn it, isn't this meteorite over? So what's your next step, Namikaze? Marshal. There is still a village. Just as Sengoku was thinking about what to do next with Namikaze Kirito, he heard his subordinates shouting. Chapter 243 Hidden Weapons. One time is not enough, do you want a second time? Although Sengoku and the others still wanted to stop the meteorite, they were more or less weak at this time, if they forcibly went to midair to fight against the meteorite. Although 5 people will not be in danger if the meteorite is not stopped. The entire Holy Land will be in crisis. This is not a joke, you can't act casually. Namikaze Kirito looked down meaningfully in midair. This was also his plan. Since he wanted to test the world government, it was easiest to use the technique of Tengai Shinsei. If the first one is smashed, then when the second one arrives, it is absolutely impossible for the few strong men to recover their strength. Either let the strong man hidden in the dark of the world government take action, or use his real ability. No matter which point it is, one can see the hidden power of the world government. Sengoku, who was the resourceful general, also saw this, and he had to admire Namikaze Kirito's thinking at this time. Obviously he has such a powerful power, but he is not dazzled by the power, but is probing step by step. Such an enemy is also the most dangerous one. Hey, the old man is a little tired. If you go up at this time, if you accidentally drop a meteorite, it will be a huge loss to the Holy Land. Aren't those old men planning to make a move? Garp pretended to complain. Shut up, Garp. Hearing Garp's words, Sengoku was full of anger. The old D was in the mood for a joke at this moment. Just when everyone didn't know how to respond, a building in the Holy Land suddenly and slowly opened. A metal like the muzzle was exposed. As far as the direction of the meteorite, seeing this scene, Namikaze Kirito also stared closely. He wants to see what kind of background world government has. Soon, White's light began to shine at the muzzle, as if it was accumulating power, and that White's light distorted the air around it. It can be seen how terrifying the power contained in it is. As the white light from the muzzle filled up, the meteorites from the sky gradually fell down, and the people below could clearly see the pits and hollows on the meteorites. Advertisement boom. A roar that could shatter human eardrums sounded, and White's light shot directly in the direction of ADBC, the meteorite. After a while, the scene of meteorite fragmentation did not occur, and the huge meteorite was melted directly like water vapor. The dust and debris flying around can prove the existence of meteorites. After breaking the meteorite, the muzzle was hidden again. Oh, Namikaze Kirito looked at the restored building with interest in his eyes. Weapon. After all, the world government has the Vegapunk, which is said to be 500 years ahead of human technology, so it is not surprising no matter what kind of weapon it uses. Watching this scene, Sengoku couldn't help sighing secretly. Originally, this weapon was prepared for Namikaze Kirito. If Namikaze Kirito intends to take the opportunity to attack the Holy Land when several people attack the first meteorite, then they will launch this weapon. It turned out that after the first meteorite, there was a second one. Garp below couldn't help but continue to complain. How do we fight this? This brat, if we keep throwing meteorites in the sky, we won't have a chance to fight him head on. No, when he started to release this ability, his face was obviously pale, so he probably won't release it a second time. Sengoku calmly analyzed. Just when everyone was still thinking about what other methods Namikaze Kirito would use, unexpectedly, a black figure landed directly on the Holy Land. With a bang, billows of dust and smoke splashed around. He just came down, Sengoku said in shock, seeing Namikaze Kirito landed directly on the ground. In Summit War, you can see Namikaze Kirito's weird abilities emerge in endlessly.
Coupled with the ability blessing of Shock Fruit and Dark Fruit, he can completely float in midair and continuously launch process attacks.
In the eyes of normal people, Namikaze Kirito should indeed do this, and it is completely unnecessary to give up his own advantages. But that's what Namikaze Kirito did, giving up the chance of a long-range attack and falling to the Holy Land instead. Shocked, the crowd surrounded Namikaze Kirito directly. Looking at the puzzled expressions around him, Namikaze Kirito directly took off his windbreaker and put it in the space of Wangchen Hirazaka. Advertisement White's shirt showed off his impressive figure to the fullest. This guy. Garp watched Namikaze Kirito's movements and understood that he was planning to fight hand-to-hand. It has to be said that even though he had different positions, Garp appreciated his behavior. This is Garp's way of fighting. No matter what kind of enemy he faces, he will directly smash it with a pair of iron fists. This is because you voluntarily gave up your advantage. Although it's a bit invincible, don't blame me, Namikaze Kirito. At the same time, Sengoku also began to command the combat troops, intending to directly encircle and suppress Namikaze Kirito. At the same time, several of them had recovered their strength and stood opposite, staring at Namikaze Kirito closely. Time passed by, Namikaze Kirito did not make a move, and none of the surrounding troops dared to make a move, and a heavy atmosphere surrounded everyone's heart. After seeing Namikaze Kirito's terrifying combat power, no one can deal with it with a normal heart. All fight. With Sengoku's order, the surrounding Marines also planned to give it a go, shutting down the fear in their minds, waving the weapons in their hands, shouting and rushing towards Namikaze Kirito. Marine, who was the first to reach Namikaze Kirito, swung the knife in his hand directly at Namikaze Kirito's head. Facing this blow, Namikaze Kirito didn't have any intention of dodging, and just punched him head-on. Click. The weapon broke immediately, and the Marine soldiers also flew upside down, hitting a group of companions. This is called fighting. Don't forget, Namikaze Kirito was also a fighting maniac when he was in the Hokage world. How could he not be happy in the face of this kind of fist-to-fist fight? Bang bang bang. Numerous Marine and world government subordinates would be attacked by fists and kicks as soon as they got close to Namikaze Kirito. For a while, the field was full of dust and smoke and soldiers who flew out backwards. It's time for us to go, let this guy fight, we will be considered. Garp collided his fists, grinned, and then quickly ran towards Namikaze Kirito. Sengoku wanted to stop him, but finally withdrew his outstretched hand helplessly. He understood that his old comrade in arms would be a thorn in the side of not obeying orders once the battle started. 240th chapters Close Combat, Little Devil. This old man is here to deal with you. Garp ran on the small road and came to Namikaze Kirito's face. Without saying a word, he punched him right up. Just in time. Seeing this scene, Namikaze Kirito had no intention of avoiding it, and his eyes were full of fighting intent. This kind of close hand-to-hand combat can only be done by Raikage's physique in the Hokage world. But in the pirate world, such people abound, and Garp is the ceiling among them. Namikaze Kirito, who was originally a battle madman, would not let this opportunity go. The two fists collided directly. Boom! There was an ear-piercing collision sound, and the huge airwave directly caused all the surrounding common people to fly out. Centered on their fists, a huge ditch appeared on the ground. This is the aesthetics of power. The two did not use hockey, but really used the most primitive method fighting against each other. Ha 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 ha. It's really enjoyable, you little brat. Aside from those weird and powerful abilities, you can become a hero with just this strong physique. Facing Garp's hearty laugh, Namikaze Kirito also smiled back. Are you okay, old man? It seems that your body hasn't rusted yet. Ha 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 ha. Garp laughed again, and then the two fought each other, punching each other. Boom boom boom. Every time the fists collide, there will be a huge roar, accompanied by a terrifying airwave, which makes it impossible for ordinary people to get close. Even though they brought guns and cannons, but Garp and Namikaze Kirito were fighting together, these Marine soldiers didn't dare to fight casually. Seeing this scene, Sengoku also took off his coat directly. Since Namikaze Kirito doesn't plan to use Devil Fruit ability, let's fight in close quarters. This also allows Sengoku and others not to worry about the safety of Holy Land and common soldiers. Seeing Garp's loud laughter in the arena, Kong was even more itchy. This kind of confrontation is also what he likes. Brother Kong, don't think about one-on-one at this time, let's go together, otherwise the old guy Garp may not be able to last long, Sengoku said bluntly. For the powerful ability of Namikaze Kirito, he dare not take it lightly. If the opponent suddenly used his ability during the battle, Garp would be in danger. At this time, they must not receive a fatal blow. Otherwise, it will definitely be dangerous. Advertisement. Kong heard the words, and nodded in the same way. He knew that this was not the time to be arrogant. Even if Garp was upset, there was nothing he could do about it. Who made Namikaze Kirito too dangerous? Sakazuki, Kuzan, you too. Since Namikaze Kirito wants melee combat, we will give it to him. After all, Sengoku rushed over first, followed by Akainu and Aokiji, and Kong kicked off the ground with both feet and ejected. Huh? You actually interrupt the old man's duel, what a bunch of annoying guys. The two who were fighting also sensed the movements of Sengoku and others, and Garp muttered with some dissatisfaction. In that distracted second, Namikaze Kirito's fist landed directly on Garp's face. Just listen to bang. Garp received a solid punch on the left forehead, but he didn't fly backwards, but used his own strong physique to hold back the strength of the opponent's fist. The ground on which both feet were stepping on could not bear it, and a large piece sank directly. Old man, don't be distracted when fighting with me, or you will be beaten. Arrogant brat. Garp stood up straight, and punched out again. He was an old urchin, and he was punched suddenly, so what if he didn't return it?
At this time, Sengoku and others rushed over. Gold's big Buddha shone directly on the battlefield. Sengoku came to Garp's back, immediately turned into a big Buddha form, and pushed his shining palm directly. Shockwave. Looking at the white light in Sengoku's palm, Namikaze Kirito didn't have the slightest fear, and also punched back. Since you use a blaster, give my blaster a try. The most powerful taijutsu in the Hokage world, Yashigami Kari, Namikaze Kirito learned this taijutsu naturally while getting along with Kagaya Haim. After his improvement, both fists can also hit the shock wave effect. Boom. Ka ka ka. The two shock waves collided, and the ground cracked directly. The Holy Land is located at the peak of the red line, and the surrounding ground is all red line. Originally, the hardness was different from that of the common ground, but it still became extremely fragile in this kind of strong attack collision. When the two confronted each other, Akainu and Aokiji also rushed over. 0. Ask for flowers. Advertisement. Great eruption. Explosive pheasant's mouth. A fiery magma of ice and fire and a piercing icy car rushed towards Namikaze Kirito. Ha 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 ha. Let the old man join in the fun. Kong jumped straight into the air, and with a sonic boom, an iron fist slammed towards Namikaze Kirito's head. A group of old guys actually play gang fights, ha 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 ha. Namikaze Kirito let out a burst of arrogant laughter. Facing the siege of top powerhouses, he did not panic at all. First, he punched Sengoku back, and then crossed his fists on both sides, and the shock force directly wrapped his fists. After accumulating power, he slammed to both sides. Empty shock. Ka ka ka. The world's strongest shock fruit once again appeared in the eyes of everyone. The atmosphere was shattered, the ground was lifted, and countless cracks in the air directly frozen Akainu Aokiji and Kong in midair. The magma and ice were directly shattered, and the elementalized bodies of Akainu and Aokiji also became torn apart.
In midair, the veins on Kong's thick arms bulged, obviously wanting to confront the shocking force head-on. However, the power of shock after strengthening contains rules of destruction. Not long after, the clothes on Kong's body began to crumble, and then, countless small wounds appeared on his body, and drops of blood sprayed out. Hateful. To Kong, this kind of injury is nothing at all. The reason why he yelled was because, in the face of this shock force, his fist couldn't break through it all. As if there was a transparent wall ahead, the fist was only a short distance away from Namikaze Kirito. Such a short distance is like two worlds, within reach but out of reach. Finally, Kong still couldn't hold on, and was sent flying out of the hospital by the force of the shock. Little devil, you have to be careful. Originally Garp didn't bother to besiege, but seeing his companions being knocked into the air, he couldn't bear it anymore. He took a step forward and punched his right fist. But just as Luffy was unwilling to take advantage of Fujitora, he also loudly reminded Namikaze Kirito. Young people don't need to worry about the old people. Chapter 245 Marine, you will not have a second chance. Although Namikaze Kirito said so, there was a smile in his eyes. He didn't dislike people like Garp and Luffy, of course, despite the stupid things they did. Facing the oncoming iron fist, Namikaze Kirito also punched back. Boom. This time, Namikaze Kirito didn't keep his hand, and his fist directly deflected Garp's fist, and then made a solid imprint on the opponent's chest. The fist landed on Garp's chest, causing his eyes to pop open, and the force almost made him vomit blood. B****************. D. Little brat, have you been letting me go before this old man? Garp flew backwards, talking with his mouth. At this moment, Sengoku, who was repelled first, rushed over again, and the round glasses couldn't stop the anger and disbelief in his eyes. Namikaze Kirito only used the ability of Shock Fruit this time, and he was close to the 990 duel. He has dispatched 5 strong players on his side, but he is still not an opponent. How could he accept this fact? Of course, Akainu and Aokiji would not let the marshal face the danger alone, and rushed over at the same time. The previous concussion force, because the two of them elementalized the entire body, did not suffer much damage. The evil party should sink into the sea. Akainu's expression has become a little ferocious. He is so jealous that he absolutely cannot let an existence like Namikaze Kirito go. He used all his strength directly, Dark Hound. His whole body was directly covered by the hot magma, and then he rushed over like a dog's head, and the magma dripped on the ground and splashed billowing dust and smoke. Dark Water. Black's vortex suddenly appeared on Namikaze Kirito. As a dark fruit ability user, the elemental fruit ability user is the most feared. The power of darkness is more terrifying than Arm Color. Arm Color can only attack elemental abilities, while Dark Fruit directly makes your fruit ability temporarily disappear. The magma on Akainu's body that had just arrived beside Namikaze Kirito disappeared immediately, and his strong body also appeared in front of Namikaze Kirito. Akainu. Namikaze Kirito had a sinister smile, and the dark fruit ability in his left hand allowed him to grab Akainu directly, and then punched out with his right fist. Ka ka ka, advertisement with a shocking right fist, it hit Akainu's face directly. I saw a kainu fell to the ground, and the power of the shock was still venting crazily. The cracks in Red's ground began to widen gradually. The common soldiers who were still standing around couldn't stand still, and even the sea below was sending out huge waves, which seemed to be roaring loudly. Peefed. Cough. Dark fruit directly made a kainu's elementalization disappear, and this punch hit him firmly in the face. A lot of blood sprayed from his mouth and nose, and the cloak and hat that symbolized absolute justice became even more casual. Even his face was already bloody, and this was because of his strong physique, otherwise he would have become a mess. Seeing this, Aokiji on the side also rushed over. Sakazuki. Ice Age, different from a kainu. Although Aokiji can't understand a kainu's actions on weekdays, he is the kind who pays special attention to his companions. Seeing that a kainu is in crisis, how could he not care about it? The surrounding ground froze instantly, and the biting ice spread towards the place where Namikaze Minato was. Dark Cave Road. Oh. The energy of dark fruit directly centered on Namikaze Minato, spreading to the surroundings, and the cold ice that hit it disappeared directly. The soldiers were firmly held in place before they could escape. What is this thing? Damn, I can't move. Who can help me? Hearing the wailing of the soldiers, Sengoku couldn't control that much anymore. He dragged out the nearest soldier and started to rescue them. However, the devouring ability of the dark fruit is very fast. Seeing that few people have been saved, Sengoku has not waited for other actions. Those soldiers wrapped in darkness disappeared directly in the center of the field. Then behind Namikaze Minato, a column of black's energy surged. These soldiers are among them, as well as the remains of buildings. Liberation. Following Namikaze Minato's words, countless bloody remains, including fragments of buildings, spewed out. Advertisement before Sengoku and the others retreated in time, they were splashed all over by blood rain. Marine, you won't get a second chance. At this time, with the blood rain falling from the sky, Namikaze Minato's face looked extremely terrifying. Some of the soldiers had lost their will to fight. They sat on the ground, pointed at Namikaze Minato tremblingly, and whispered the word, "Devil," in their mouths. Just when Namikaze Minato used the dark fruit ability, Aokiji also found an opportunity to rescue a kainu. However, a kainu was hit on the face by the force of the shock, and a kainu's face was deformed at this time. Although he was not dead yet, he had already received serious injuries, and many places on his body suffered comminuted fractures. Sakazuki. Aokiji hugged a kainu and shouted his name loudly, fearing that he would die directly. Fortunately, there is breathing between the nostrils. That look made him see that Sengoku was already disappointed with the world government at this time. Why not him? But the order of the world needs to be maintained. As a former leader, he knows Sengoku very well. Garp also stood by Sengoku's side at this time. His face was also clouded, unlike the smiling one before. Do all the people in Marine have to die in order for them to appear? Sengoku looked at the surrounding scene. His eyes couldn't help getting wet. Once again, the soldiers he brought disappeared partly again. The only person in the room who was still smiling was Namikaze Minato. Sengoku's cloak is fluttering with the wind, and the word, justice, is very eye-catching. The justice that has always been believed in has loosened a bit at this time. Looking at the wailing around and the remaining soldiers who lost their fighting spirit, how could they laugh? Brother Kong. He was facing Sengoku and others, and said casually, 5 people can't stop me, and now there are 3 of you left, and there is no chance. Why don't you make way and let me talk to some old men in the house? As the marshal of the Marine, even these soldiers cannot protect him. Sengoku, let's talk about this after the battle. The 3.7 enemies in front of us are still looking at us. 5 elders said they'll make the shot when it matters, but what about the man? At this moment, Kong came to Sengoku's side and put his rough hands on his shoulders. Sengoku also knew that now was not the time to be sad, and then turned his attention to Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato, I will absolutely not allow you, a villain who wantonly tramples on life, to approach the center of the world. It cannot be maintained by pirates, so Marine is extremely important at this time. Chapter 246 Full Strength. Ha 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 ha, Marshal Sengoku, when you say the center of the world, do you mean a pigsty made of pigs? Namikaze Minato laughed disdainfully. He didn't have the slightest liking for celestial dragons. If given the chance, he would definitely slaughter all the celestial dragons in this world. Of course, the premise is to understand the background of world government. He wasn't nervous about any top powerhouses in this world, including that mysterious Lord I Am. He didn't feel that they would pose a particularly big threat to him. The only thing that keeps Namikaze Minato on guard is the power of order in this world. When he was in the Hokage world, he already understood that when he breaks the cycle that the world should have, the world order will be maintained, and even the whole world will be restarted. It has been a long time since I came to Pirate World. Although the plot has not changed beyond recognition, it has also gained a great reputation in the world. He doesn't believe the world order doesn't notice his presence. But obviously O3 can notice his existence, but he didn't have the slightest intention to do anything, not even to observe. This surprised Namikaze Minato a little. Don't be afraid of thieves stealing, but be afraid of thieves thinking about it. This sentence is an eternal truth. The enemy hidden in the dark is the most terrifying. Not necessarily when it will suddenly show up and give you a hard blow. That's why Namikaze Minato didn't go straight to the Holy Land. He didn't want to capsize in the gutter. At this moment, the 5 elders were sitting in the palace, looking at what was happening outside through the huge screen. The cipher pull they sent, someone with a live phone bug, directly fed back the situation on the scene to the screen. Of course they also heard what Namikaze Kirito said. All 5 of them had violent veins, wishing to punish Namikaze Kirito directly on the spot. It's really treason, this Namikaze Kirito doesn't care about us so much. Calm down, he is now the most ferocious criminal in the world, wouldn't it be strange if he respected us? It's all because of those stupid idiots who are against such an enemy. If they can keep a low profile, wouldn't they be fine? As the nobles of the world, you have to enjoy the power of the descendants of the Creator. It's no big deal to be arrogant. If they really become less stupid, we should take action against them. Advertisement. HMPH, keep reading. If there is no way to sanction Namikaze Kirito for the time being, I will try to recruit him. If the dialogue of 5 elders is heard by outsiders, it is estimated that life will be directly doubted. In their eyes, the celestial dragons of common are no different from normal people, and they even need the celestial dragons to do evil like they are now, so that nothing harmful to politics will happen. On the other side, Sengoku listened to Namikaze Kirito's rebellious words, and couldn't help but look cold. Everyone knows what the celestial dragons are doing, but even so, it cannot change the fact that they are nobles in the world. Once someone shoots at them or disrespects them, it is equivalent to challenging the order of the world. Sengoku doesn't want someone like Namikaze Kirito to turn the world upside down.
Namikaze Kirito, I've been a Marine for so many years, and this is the first time I've seen someone as dangerous as you. Whether it's to protect the Holy Land or the world, you must stay here today.
When he said this, Sengoku's eyes already had the determination to die. He knows Namikaze Kirito's powerful combat power, so what he thinks in his heart is that even if they die together today, Namikaze Kirito must be kept. Kong on the side also had the same thought. He was also the marshal of the Marine, and now he is the commander-in-chief of the entire army, so he has this obligation to block Namikaze Kirito. Let me stay. Exactly, Marine, as I said before, you won't get a second chance. Namikaze Kirito suddenly exuded a powerful coercion. This coercion is the combination of Conqueror's Haki in its own momentum. In an instant, the entire sky was covered with overcast clouds, thunder and lightning flashed, the sea roared crazily, and the ships in the surrounding sea area began to shake. Some small boats were even directly swallowed by the waves. Bang 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 with a series of muffled sounds, the surrounding Marine soldiers and Cypher Pole personnel from the world government rolled their eyes one after another and fell down. Even if they were elites, they couldn't resist Namikaze Kirito's aura at all. Is this your best effort? Looking at the surrounding situation, Sengoku's complexion became gloomy again. Even he, facing Namikaze Kirito's aura, felt as if his heart was covered by a smog. From the depths of the soul, I felt a shudder. Advertisement. It can be seen how terrifying Namikaze Kirito is. Kong and Garp stood on both sides of Sengoku, and Aokiji took care of Sakazuki. The medical soldiers who came here were directly stunned by Namikaze Kirito's conquerors. Seriously wounded, Akainu could easily be spilled by the fighting if left unattended. Then they lost an admiral. As a Marine, and as a comrade in arms, Aokiji will never let this happen. This also led to the fact that facing the current Namikaze Kirito, Sengoku, there are only top players with the main name. Ha 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 ha, this kid is really scary. This scene reminds me of when I faced the rocks, but Namikaze Kirito is stronger and younger. Garp let out a hearty laugh. If he had experienced countless battles in his life, the most memorable one was facing Rocks, the overlord of the sea. Marine can only team up with D. Roger to defeat Rocks. It can be seen to the extent, but when facing Namikaze Kirito, there is no man named Roger in this era. What's more, even if Roger is there, Garp doesn't think that the two of them will be able to secure Namikaze Kirito together. Let me, an old fellow, take the lead. After the blood-red Kong said, all the muscles in his body puffed up, and he rushed directly towards Namikaze Kirito. We're going too. Sengoku and Garp followed closely behind. Namikaze Kirito's eyes were full of excitement when he saw this. He was going to really show his full strength.
Boom. Facing the approach of the 3 of them, Namikaze Kirito went up with a punch. This punch did not use the power of shock, but it shattered the space.
With a sonic boom, there was even a small space turbulence around the fist. This punch has already exceeded the limit that this world can bear. Kong took the lead, wrapped in Black's armament Haki, and also punched out. Sengoku and Garp behind them also used their full strength. They have already seen the power of Namikaze Kirito, and Kong alone is absolutely unstoppable.
Chapter 247 Kong, Die. Boom boom boom. The center of the fist collision of the 4 people made an ear-splitting roar.
The 3 marine cloaks were blown fiercely by the airwaves. Looking at the appearance of the 3 of Sengoku, the veins on their foreheads were bulging, and the muscles all over their bodies were bulging. It can be seen how much strength was used to resist this punch. This made Aokiji, who was watching the battle, stare wide-eyed. Although I already knew that Namikaze Kirito was very strong, but I didn't expect it to be so strong. Naturally, it took 3 top powerhouses to block a punch. It is not yet known how much power the opponent has used. Go to hell. Brat. Kong roared angrily. Although his whole body had been wrapped by armament Haki, the collision of force had already caused the blood vessels in his whole body to collapse, and blood was constantly spraying out. Damn you, old man. Namikaze Kirito's face is not difficult, and the strength on the head is constantly increasing. Ka ka ka. The hard red line was trampled out of several deep trenches by the 3 of Sengoku, and Namikaze Kirito was pushing them away with his own strength. But, damn it, Can't this be stopped? Under the light, Sengoku's eyes were no longer visible, but the sweat flowing from his forehead showed that he had been struggling. Garp was also in the same situation. The three of them attacked at the same time, but they still couldn't block the opponent's punch. Garp, who suppressed the sea with a pair of iron fists, was also full of shock. The two of them are okay, because they joined in the last step, so they didn't enter the center of power. Kong in the middle felt that all the bones in his body were going to be crushed. If he slack off a bit, he would be crushed to pieces in no time. Since you are going to die, why not use the last trace of strength in your bones and blood? Read this, Chong Kong will not advance but retreat. Drink. He was already at the center of power, but Kong was still walking forward with his body, and every centimeter he walked was a torment for him. There were door slamming sounds all over his body, because Armament Hockey's package, on the surface, seemed to be just a little blood, but Kong knew it himself. Now he has multiple fractures all over his body. Even the outstretched fist is almost unconscious at this time. Even so, he is still struggling to resist, intending to use his remaining heat at the last moment of his life. Brother Kong backquote. Advertisement, Brother Kong. Of course, Sengoku and Garp also saw Kong's state, but they were too busy to take care of themselves, and there was nothing busy at all. Ice Cube, two thorny spears. At this moment, Aokiji, who was taking care of Akainu, suddenly jumped up in the air, and several ice spears appeared in front of him, and shot straight at Namikaze Kirito. Little tricks. Seeing this, Namikaze Kirito punched his right fist again, only to hear a loud noise. The three of Sengoku flew upside down, and then disappeared immediately. Puff puff. Several ice spears were directly inserted into the red line. Just above the location where Aokiji was searching for Namikaze Kirito with observation haki, a breath suddenly came from behind him. Oops, Aokiji, I gave you a chance, goodbye. One punch out. Poof. The sound of entering meat sounded. Blood mist and minced meat drifted down from midair. Brother Sora. There was a scene that made Sengoku and Garp tear their eyes apart. I saw that Kong came directly into the air without knowing when, and when Namikaze Kirito's punch was about to hit Aokiji, he directly flew the ladder out. He suffered multiple fractures all over his body, and after flying Aokiji, he had no strength to avoid or defend at all. He could only let Namikaze Kirito hit him in the chest. Unexpectedly, the power of this punch pierced him directly. Hateful. Sengoku charged straight up and threw a punch in anger, intending to knock Namikaze Kirito back and bring Kong back. But how could Namikaze Kirito allow him to do so? The angry punch had no effect on Namikaze Kirito, so he blocked it casually. Then the power of the shock was activated, and Kong's body shattered and split open. At the last moment, Sengoku, who flew upside down, saw a smile on Kong's cracked face. With a slight movement of his lips, he could clearly understand the meaning of the other party. Sengoku, I'll leave it to you later, Brother Kong. Boom. Advertisement. Sengoku crashed into a building, shattering it and sending a splash of debris. And Aokiji, who was lucky enough to survive, also stared blankly at this scene. Commander Kong. Brother Kong. Garp couldn't help crying. Kong is the former Marine Marshal, Sengoku, and Garp have an incomparably deep relationship with him. Seeing that Kong died without a whole body and didn't even say a word, how could he bear it? Wave. Wind. Tong. People. Sengoku crawled out from the ruins, gritted his teeth and looked at Namikaze Kirito not far away, with tears in his eyes. His hatred for Namikaze Kirito is now at its peak. Faced with such hatred, Namikaze Kirito didn't react too much, but smiled and said, I said before, I won't give you a second chance, Sengoku, Garp, Aokiji. No, it should be said that the entire Marine and even world government, come and try it out. I will kill you, or can you stop me first? Sengoku didn't talk nonsense anymore, and rushed over directly. Garp on the side was worried about Sengoku's comfort, and followed closely behind. Aokiji stood there blankly, still thinking about the scene just now. Come on, Marine. Facing the arrival of the two, Namikaze Kirito didn't panic at all, standing where he was, with black smoke billowing from his body. The ability of Dark Fruit is directly displayed. He won't hold back the slightest this time. Now that Sengoku and the others have already made up their minds that they must die, he will also help each other. Go to hell. Namikaze Kirito. Nord. S. Sengoku directly turned into a gold Buddha. The shockwave in his palm exploded suddenly, and Garp also mustered all the muscles in his body, and he punched him. Darkness. Rasengan. A black fog-wrapped sphere appeared on Namikaze Kirito's right hand. This is the ninjutsu he created. Utilize the ability of Dark Fruit plus Rasengan, able to devour everything directly. The shockwave sent by Sengoku was directly swallowed by Dark Fruit's power, and then Rasengan continued to push forward. It was on Garp's body right away, but Sengoku knocked Garp out in an instant. He already felt that his Devil Fruit ability was directly absorbed, and he couldn't resist this kind of weird ability at all. So act decisively and push Garp away, and he confronted Rasengan head-on. Without the slightest big scene, the moment Sengoku's hand touched Rasengan, he disappeared directly into the dark fog. Chapter 248. I stay. Sengoku. Being hit by his companion, Garp knew that Sengoku was saving him, but he absolutely couldn't allow the other party to be hurt. Seeing Sengoku half kneeling on the ground clutching his arms, Garp hurried over. Just now, Sengoku's arm has been completely swallowed because he came into contact with Rasengan full of Dark Fruit abilities. A hole in the arm was displayed in front of Garp's eyes, and blood was continuously flowing out. Garp. Garp? Sengoku endured the pain, and said with difficulty. Brother Kong is dead, you can't follow the accident. In Marine, if two legends die on the same day, it will have a great impact on our morale. Sengoku, you? Hear me out. Before Garp could speak, Sengoku interrupted him directly. If I can leave alive today, I hope you can go back to the Marine and educate those juniors well. If you are a marshal, you must not be interested. So I want you to help Aokiji become a marshal and restore our Marine's reputation. Listening to his old buddy uttering such last words, how could Garp bear it? He never thought that he would have such a powerless day. Now Akainu is seriously injured, Kong is dead, and Sengoku has a broken arm. I am afraid that today will not be good. 620. Facing the chat between the two old men, Namikaze Kirito did not interrupt the two, but instead stood there, looking at the two with interest. He raised his head inadvertently and glanced at the world government behind them. Is it really worth it? Sengoku, those old guys don't have the slightest intention of coming out. Namikaze Kirito walked up to Sengoku slowly and said with a teasing smile. Hearing this, although Sengoku has no resentment, there is a hint of unwillingness and disappointment in his eyes. You know, in the conference room before, I heard 5 elders say that there are weapons to deal with Namikaze Kirito, and it is estimated that the cost will be very high, so even now they have not used them. The weapon that smashed the meteorite before was not prepared for Namikaze Kirito at all, there should be something else. Advertisement. But even if Kong died in battle, they didn't respond at all, which made Sengoku, who had believed in justice all his life, a little confused at this moment. In the end, he and Kong came here today, desperately working hard for whom in the end. How could it cause the current result? It's useless to think so much now, the most terrifying enemy is right in front of you, if you distract yourself, you will have no chance at all. Thinking of this, Sengoku stood up with difficulty, only his left hand was clenched into a fist. Garp, you take Kuzan and Sakazuki out of here first. What? Garp looked at Sengoku in disbelief. This is to ask him to be a deserter. You must know that Garp has never run away from an enemy in his life. No matter how big the crisis was, Sengoku knew this about him, but he still said the words that made him escape. Absolutely impossible. How could I leave you alone to deal with that brat? Boom. Garp. You be asterisk 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 D. Can't you just listen to people? Sengoku patted Garp's shoulder vigorously with the only remaining hand, and his tone became serious and anxious. Didn't you hear what I just said? Only you can help Kuzan become a marshal, and only you can escape. Let me deal with Namikaze Kirito, you take the two of them away. Garp still didn't let go. Also, they have been fighting side by side for many years, how could they abandon their companions because the enemy is too strong? Garp. Sengoku yelled angrily. Didn't you hear what Namikaze Kirito said? Brother Sora didn't get any support until he died in battle. Today, if you, a Marine hero, die here, it doesn't have any greater effect. On the contrary, it will greatly reduce Marine's reputation. It's been so long, when will you learn to take care of the overall situation? Also, if I am alive, they will never pay attention to it. Only when the ADBF era is changed and Kuzan takes over, at that time, our Marine will usher in new changes. Can you let this old guy take people away? Namikaze Kirito, the two-time Marine Marshal, can be regarded as your return gift to those guys. Advertisement. Sengoku looked directly at Namikaze Kirito, who was not far away, and really spoke. It may be a matter of life and death. At this time, Sengoku has already figured it out, and directly described the 5 elders and the top executives of the world government as those guys. The future of Marine, please, if you want to leave, of course I won't stop it. My goal is only those guys behind you. Isn't it the way you came up to be me? Sengoku has realized that at this moment, the best choice is not to stay here, but to respect his decision. What the hell are you going to do? Then look at Garp again. Did you hear that, Garp? This is an order from the Marshal. Get Kuzan and Sakazuki out of here. I saw Garp leading Aokiji and Akainu, and left the battlefield without looking back, but looking at his hunched back, full of heaviness and sadness, the man who used to stand upright seems to have disappeared. Namikaze Kirito, before you enter the holy place, please allow me to ask a question. Hearing Sengoku's unprecedented solemn tone, Garp nodded with a heavy face, and came directly to Aokiji's side, held Akainu up with one hand, and directly knocked out the defenseless Aokiji with the other hand, and then hold it up in the same way. Hearing this, Namikaze Kirito showed a playful smile. Marine thanks the evil party wanted by the world? Sengoku, you really have completely let go of the burden in your heart. It was replaced by an old man who didn't know what he was thinking at the moment. Seeing Garp's action, Sengoku's eyes had a hint of relief. Really? That's really embarrassing. Sengoku laughed at himself. Staring at Namikaze Kirito's eyes, after a while, the corner of Sengoku's mouth rose. It seems that everyone has misunderstood you. Sengoku's words are not just words, it can be seen that his face is much more cheerful, and even the frown that is usually tightly frowned has eased. Ha, that's right. After I let go of some things just now, I feel a lot more relaxed. It seems that I haven't been this comfortable for many years. Instead of answering Sengoku's question, Namikaze Kirito stretched out his finger and pointed to the sky. Hearing this, Namikaze Kirito shrugged casually. After Garp was completely gone, Sengoku looked directly at Namikaze Kirito. Thanks for getting them out of here, Namikaze Kirito. Chapter 249. 2 Marine Marshals die, but there will definitely be someone to stop you. If monsters like you appear in the sea, then justice will definitely appear corresponding to it. I have no doubts about this. Sengoku's tone was full of firmness. He may have regretted many things in his life, but there is only one thing that he has carried out since he was a child. That is to believe in the existence of justice. Hearing this, Namikaze Kirito laughed out loud. Really, I'm really looking forward to someone appearing to stop me, no tilde but. But I probably can't see it, ha ha ha. Before Namikaze Kirito could finish speaking, Sengoku helped him say what he wanted to say, followed by a hearty laugh. Originally, the heavy burden of the marshal made him not laugh so openly for many years. Before he died, it was also a happy thing to be able to interrupt Namikaze Kirito's words and make the other party a little deflated. At this time, Sengoku is as happy as a child who has snatched candy. Drew. Sengoku, let me give you a ride. In an instant, Namikaze Kirito was in front of Sengoku and stretched out a hand. Seeing this, Sengoku's eyes froze, and he punched away with his only left hand. It's not his character to sit and wait for death. Originally, he was no match for Namikaze Kirito, but now that he is seriously injured, his reaction is much slower. This punch missed. The fist wind directly blew Namikaze Kirito's fiery red hair. And also flying, there is a burst of eye-catching blood mist. Like Kong, Namikaze Kirito pierced Sengoku's chest with his hand. The difference is that this time, Namikaze Kirito did not use the concussion force. So Sengoku was able to maintain the last trace of dignity. Thank you, Bo. Namikaze Kirito, if possible, I hope that before there are monsters like you in Marine, no, I won't provoke you. After all, Sengoku coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood, and his bright eyes began to lose their highlight. The moment Sengoku was about to fall, Namikaze Kirito held him up and gently lowered him to the ground. At this time, everyone who had woken up before was dumbfounded. Advertisement, what did they see? Sengoku, the Marine Marshal, died before them. Yuan. Marshal Sengoku, ah. Unlike the cipher pole personnel of the world government, the Marine soldiers wept bitterly one by one, unable to believe the scene in front of them at all. The Marine Marshal who guarded the era of the Great Pirate passed away just like that. Namikaze Kirito ignored the wailing crowd, but walked towards the holy place. When he came to the closed gate, Namikaze Kirito said softly, even if the two marshals die, don't you have any intention of supporting them? What a group of ruthless guys. Don't worry, I've had enough fun today, and I'll give you a gift in return. I have to say, Sengoku made me feel a little bit more compassionate. However, just like what first said to Marine, you will not have a second chance, and I will come to play with you next time. Boom. After all, Namikaze Kirito punched the gate. Because of his deliberate control of strength, he did not smash the gate, but directly left a fist mark on it. It seems to be threatening, and it seems to be mocking the incompetence of the world government. This scene also made the five elders in front of the screen almost overturn the table in anger, but they did not calm down. Sengoku and Kong died in battle. This matter needs to be explained to the world, otherwise the prestige of their world government will drop a lot. Even then, what they think about is their own rule. After leaving that eye-catching fist mark, a shady scene appeared beside Namikaze Kirito, and he walked in directly. Just as his face slowly disappeared in front of everyone, he smiled and left a word. World government, you don't want me to come a second time, by then, I will make you completely disappear from this world. On the second day of Namikaze Kirito's havoc at the holy place, the whole world knew the shocking news. The former marshal of the Marine, the current commander-in-chief of the whole army, Kong, died in battle. Advertisement: the current Marine Marshal, the resourceful General Sengoku, died in battle. Marine's highest combat power, Akainu, is seriously injured and comatose. No one could have imagined that after Namikaze Kirito went to the Holy Land, it would cause such a result. The report clearly stated that the reason why the Holy Land was saved in the end was not that Namikaze Kirito was incapable of continuing to fight, but that he said that he had played enough, and even left an insulting fist mark on the gate of the Holy Land. 0. Ask for flowers. If we say that after watching Summit War, I feel that Namikaze Kirito is the strongest in the world, and when I see the news that Namikaze Kirito is going to the Holy Land to return the gift, I feel that he is a crazy strong man. Seeing the result of Namikaze Kirito ascending to the Holy Land this time, let's directly believe that he is not only a lunatic, but also an invincible lunatic. Admirers of Namikaze Kirito have emerged all over the world. Especially those who are pirates and villains, who don't want to have this kind of strength one day. They will kill your Marine Marshal, or two, at your doorstep. Do you have a way? You can't, you still have to expect me to leave, otherwise you will lose even your home? This also caused some people to panic. In their eyes, Namikaze Kirito, who was compared by the world government to the world's most ferocious criminal, is evil. The world government and Marine symbolize justice. Now that the apex of justice, the Marshal, is dead, does the world government still have the ability to protect us? With such doubts, these people are completely living in panic.
The fact is also the same. After the world government suffered such a big loss, a group of villains felt that they could do it too, so they began to plunder unscrupulously.
Even if it has nothing to do with Namikaze Kirito, those pirates with inflated self-confidence are still so bold because of Namikaze Kirito. But the real powerhouse is watching patiently. You know, before I just thought that Namikaze Kirito had a strong personal combat power, but now it is completely different. People can even fight up to the Holy Land, no matter how many you have, it doesn't make sense. In order to find out the real purpose of Namikaze Kirito, these strong men tuck their tails, to be human, and the new world, which was constantly fighting for territory, became extraordinarily peaceful. Even Kaido and Big Mom, known as the Four Emperors, didn't make any moves. The calmness of New World is extremely eerie, and one can't help but feel that this is the harbinger of the approaching storm. At this time, Namikaze Kirito was on the big bed in the Golden King Hotel, with Boa Hancock in his left arm and Carla in his right hand, living a very comfortable life. Chapter 250 New Trends in the World. Honey, is it delicious? Namikaze Kirito sat on the sofa. Boa Hancock directly peeled the grapes and handed them to his mouth. It has to be said that Boa Hancock, who is called the Pirate Queen, feeding himself grapes is a kind of visual enjoyment. What's more, she is still the kind of woman who is cruel to others and warm to her own man. $3. When Namikaze Kirito was eating grapes, he touched Boa Hancock's scallion white fingers between his lips and teeth, causing the latter to let out a soft cry. Even though he has made her his own woman and even spent several nights, Boa Hancock still looks shy. This also makes Namikaze Kirito feel fresh every time. As for Carla, she was driven to another room by Boa Hancock, although she had already accepted the 010 fact that she was with her man. But Boa Hancock is still prone to jealousy, and Carla knows that although she has the love of Namikaze Kirito, she must not be able to compete with this woman for status. The beauty of the Pirate Empress is universal for men and women. Barbara Carla went directly to another room very wittily, showing no fight or snatching, which made Boa Hancock no chance to get angry. Eating the peeled grapes, Namikaze Kirito rested on those smooth thighs, reading today's newspaper. 1 month has passed since the Holy Land incident. During this time, the news of the deaths of Sengoku, Kong, and the 2 marine marshals also spread across the sea. According to the past situation, the world government will stand up and clean up. At this time, whether it is Namikaze Kirito using conspiracy to kill Sengoku and Kong, or the 2 died unexpectedly. There will always be a reason to make the people of the world newcomers to the world government. But this time, the world government was like a dumb person. It had obviously died with 2 cards, but it still didn't say anything, and it didn't even respond. This also makes many forces in the world believe that Namikaze Kirito has really terrified those in power this time. With the power of one person, the entire world government was plunged into fear, which shows what kind of situation his strength has reached. Advertisement. There used to be the lonely Red Earl, who could be as famous as the 4 emperors alone, but obviously, he is no longer enough. It just has the record of defeating Kong, but Namikaze Kirito directly killed Marshal Marine, 1 kill is 2. What kind of concept is this? For so many years in the sea, no one has such a record. Just when the world was plunged into darkness, Marine finally made a new move. The first is to recruit troops from all over the world. This time, the conscription is different from the past, it is decided by force. Even the highest combat power of Marine, the Admiral position, as long as you have this ability, you can directly enter it. According to the original book, the world conscription should be 2 years later, but Namikaze Kirito did too many feats, which led to the world conscription being carried out ahead of schedule. Another news is that Marine Admiral Aokiji is serving as Marine Marshal. Admiral Akainu has recovered from his injury. Although he also wanted to become Marshal, Aokiji was successfully elected after some discussions with the 5 elders. In fact, anyone with a discerning eye can see that Aokiji is a dove, while Akainu is a hawk. If the Marshal asks Akainu to do it, no surprises, the head Iron Boy will definitely let Haiwu dispatch all his troops to attack Namikaze Kirito. But the current Marine can't stand such a toss at all. The death of 2 Marine Marshals has a huge impact on Marine's morale. If at this time, he went to fight against that terrifying man, it would be fine if he won, but if he lost again, along with a few top fighters, then Marine would be able to withdraw from the combat department of the world government. Therefore, at this time, making Aokiji the Marine Marshal is not only the wish of the common soldiers, but also the decision of the 5 elders. The proposal of world conscription is the next step for the 5 elders against Namikaze Kirito. Now there are not enough strong people in Marine, so we can recruit from the world. There are some hidden strong people all over the world. Although these people are not famous yet, they are very powerful. For example, Fujitora and Green Bull in the original book. At this time, Marine desperately needs a new look to suppress the gossip. Not to mention, this move by Marine has indeed attracted many powerful people to join him. Not to mention, some people now feel that Namikaze Kirito, the most vicious criminal, is too powerful. I'm afraid it won't be long before the world will be in turmoil. These powerhouses hidden in the dark, joining the Marine at this time, also hope to dedicate their own strength. Besides Marine, the more interesting one is the red-haired Shanks, one of the 4 emperors. Advertisement he's been running around all day. First I went to Big Mom's Wangwo, and then I went to Kaido's Wanokuni. As 4 emperors, every move will attract attention, and contacting people who are also 4 emperors is even more eye-catching. This point, red-haired Shanks simply cannot hide. However, although it was known that the redhead was intentionally contacting the 4 emperors, no one knew what he had talked about with the other 2. In short, wherever he goes, he will trigger a big battle, and it is not an exaggeration to say that he is a humanoid war machine. Not everyone will sell him a face. After seeing Kaido and Big Mom, the world thought that the next stop of the redhead would be Namikaze Kirito's Golden City, but he didn't go. Instead, he disappeared without a trace in the sea, and no one knows where he went. This point also caused many conspirators to speculate, and the most guessed was that the redhead wanted to attack Namikaze Kirito. Otherwise, there is no reason for him to only meet Kaido and Big Mom, instead of Namikaze Kirito, who is the most popular. New World, Wano Kuni. At this time, Kaido also saw the Marine Marshal, Aokiji took office, but his face was slightly disdainful. B.8. Are you so afraid of that brat Namikaze Kirito? How depraved, Marine. Beside Kaido, there are Jin and Quinn, one of the three plagues. They're different from Jack, the other three plagues, but they are the real rulers of the Beast's pirates. Many things in Beast's pirates are resolved by two people. After all, there is a captain who can solve everything by force. If other people are like this, don't talk about building a pirate group, just call and fight every day. Hearing Kaido's words, Jin frowned. I think I should agree to what the red-haired guy said. Now Namikaze Kirito's momentum is indeed a bit too strong, such as... Boom. Before Jin could finish speaking, Kaido directly hit the ground with the mace in his hand, causing spiderweb-like cracks to appear on the ground. Chapter 251 The Choice of Two Four Emperors. Shut up, Jin. Do you want me to team up with the red-haired B****************************** D2? If you really do that, people in the world will think that labor and management are afraid of that Namikaze Kirito. If outsiders were around, they might be shocked when they heard what Kaido said. Sure enough, those guesses were right. The redhead Shanks wanted to take on Namikaze Kirito, and even came to join forces with Kaido and Big Mom. Quinn glanced at Jin from the side, and then looked at Kaido in the same way. Although I don't want to admit Jin's proposal, but boss Kaido, what he said is right, Namikaze is now. Hearing that his two subordinates were going to persuade him to join forces with the red hair, the haki on Kaido's body radiated directly. If you look at it from the sea, the sky of Wano Kuni is covered with dark clouds, intertwined with thunder and lightning, and it is full of impotent sights. HMPH, he's just a newcomer, so what if he kills Kong and Sengoku? He hasn't fought yet, and he's going to team up with Redhead? Don't laugh so hard. O3 Jin and Quinn shook their heads. They knew that once Kaido made up his mind, no one could persuade him. As followers, the two can only respect the meaning of the captain. Wangwo, like Kaido, Big MBH also heard the ministers in the family together. Katakuri, what do you think of the proposal that the red-haired guy gave us? Mom, I think this matter can be agreed or not. If agreed, although the reputation will suffer a little loss, it will make one less strong competitor in the sea. Katakuri calmly analyzed. If you don't agree, Namikaze Kirito will fight with the red hair and the others, and we can also come to the end and get benefits. That's right. Big Mom's huge eyes were full of greed. It would be even better if they could die together, then the world would be mine. Mom will definitely become the One Piece. That's right, Redhead and Namikaze Kirito are nothing but two brats. How can you compare with Mom? Ha ha ha, our Big Mom pirates are the ones who have the last laugh. As soon as Big Mom spoke, countless people flattered him, only Katakuri was still standing there calmly. Advertisement. He knew that his mother hadn't finished speaking. Alright. Sure enough, after hearing enough praise for him, Big Mom waved his hand, and the whole room fell silent. Then, he turned his gaze to a tall woman with a beautiful face in the room again. This woman is nearly 5 meters tall, with a big waist, long legs, and long white hair that reaches her waist, all wrapped in a hood. The yellow scarf is somewhat similar to Katakuri. It is Charlotte's Muji, one of the 3 dessert stars of the Charlotte family. At this time, seeing Big Mom looking at her, her beautiful eyes dodged a little. A few days ago, she had heard from Katakuri that for the sake of the family, Mom planned to let her marry Namikaze Kirito, although she didn't hate powerful men. But she never thought about getting married. Otherwise, what would she do if she worked hard for half her life and climbed to the position of the 3 dessert generals? Seeing Big Mom looking at her, he knew what the other party was going to say. In this family, no one can go against the word of Big MBH. Sure enough, Big Mom squinted his eyes and said with a smile, Smuji, my outstanding daughter, are you willing to marry Namikaze Kirito for the sake of the family? Although they are asking, everyone in this room understands that Big Mom's orders cannot be doubted. Smoothie's hands were clenched tightly. Under the wrapping of the gloves, no one could see, her slender jade fingers had turned a little white. Even though he was extremely unwilling in his heart, and even had a slight thought of resistance, when he saw Big Mom's eyes, Smoothie still tremblingly said, Mom. Well, as expected of my daughter, Smoothie, you are doing well. Hearing Smoothie's affirmative answer, Big Mom started to laugh out loud. The reason why she intends to marry Namikaze Kirito and Smoothie at this time is to tie the other party to her boat first. In this way, even after the war between Red Hair and Namikaze Kirito is over, and Namikaze Kirito wins, their Big Mom pirates can take advantage of the opportunity. If the redhead wins, it doesn't matter, it's just a daughter. In the eyes of Big Mom, there is no such thing as family affection at all, and children are just means she uses to strengthen the pirate group. Advertisement. After the meeting, Smoothie ignored his brothers and sisters. His beautiful eyes were full of coldness, and went straight back to his room. Namikaze Kirito read today's newspaper, which contained news about Marine and the redhead, and then threw the newspaper directly on the table. Marshal Marine let Aokiji in. It seems that the plot is getting more and more chaotic, but Red Hair, you guy, you really don't give up. You want to deal with me? You also found Kaido and Big Mom. Now, you should be fighting with that. Let's chat with 5 old men. The 5 old men are the 5 elders of the world government. Namikaze Kirito raised his hand and stroked Boa Hancock's hair. It's just a bunch of clowns, let them come, I will let them know what is the gap. When she said this, Boa Hancock's beautiful eyes were full of murderous intent. Now she has completely fallen in love with Namikaze Kirito, and her body and mind have sunk. From the top of the head to the shoulders, those fiery hands slid down the hair, and then put it on the slit of the cheongsam. Honey. Boa Hancock's beautiful eyes also had a hint of confusion. The cheongsam slipped down slowly, and the room was filled with a trace of heat.
When a kainu loses face, he will be scolded when he finds 5 elders, but 5 elders will spare time for the red hair, which shows that the identity of the red hair is not easy.
Barbara Carla was in front of the door at this time, and just about to stretch out her hand to open the door, she heard the voice inside, and her pretty face immediately became flushed. She knew what Namikaze Kirito was going to do, and even though it was daytime, she had no intention of resisting. He has been waiting for the world order to take action, otherwise it would be too passive to continue like this. But whoever he is, Namikaze Kirito doesn't care. At this time, she heard that someone was planning to deal with her own man. How could she bear it? I have become the person of Namikaze Kirito, there is nothing I can't let go of. Boa Hancock, who was peeling grapes, also heard Namikaze Kirito's words.
Is someone trying to get at you, honey? Boa Hancock enjoys the intimacy of Namikaze Kirito very much. Under that palm, he enjoys it with his eyes closed like a kitten.
In the original book, the redhead also went to the Holy Land and met the 5 elders, and the fruit of face is even stronger than a kainu. It doesn't matter. Really, Kirito-sama is really too much. Chapter 252 Big Mom's Invitation in the Golden City. The business here has become more and more popular, even more than before. Everyone wants to meet the man who is shaking the world today, 4 Emperors Namikaze Kirito. His current reputation is in full swing, making the world government bow its head, and even killed 2 marine marshals. Who dares to make trouble in his territory? As it was written in the newspapers before, the Golden City is still the same as before. As long as you are in the city, you are not allowed to do anything, no matter what your status is. Even the people under Namikaze Kirito, apart from maintaining order, will not do anything at will. Under such a premise, many forces have sent people here, and it would be a good thing to know more about that man here. But to their disappointment, they have been here for more than half a month, and they have not even seen the shadow of Namikaze Kirito. Isn't he? He has been immersed in the tenderness of Boa Hancock and Bar Carla. The room was on the top floor of the King of Gold Hotel. Except for him and a few people, no one else was qualified to come up. Today's Namikaze Kirito is still sitting on a soft sofa, topless, showing his perfect muscular lines. As a result, Boa Hancock and Bar Carla fed the fruits, and their lives were very pleasant. When he first came to this world, Namikaze Kirito decided to enjoy it, but there are some things, even if you don't want him to happen, you will still be involved. It's like going up to the Holy Land, isn't it, just to kill some of you celestial dragons? Just bear with it. If you insist on fighting me to the end, that's all right. I'll just flip the table and see how you play. Bang bang bang. Just when Namikaze Kirito's heart was in Versailles, there was a knock on the door. Master Kirito, someone sent a letter, and Master Tezzolo said that he wants you to live by yourself.
Come in. A maid was carrying a plate with several letters on it. After putting the letters on the table, she saluted respectfully and turned to leave.
Does anyone still use such an old-fashioned way? Can't you just make a phone call with a phone bug? Advertisement. Namikaze Kirito muttered, picked up a letter and opened it. The letter is from Doflamingo, who have each traveled across the sea since the last incident. Shiryu of the Rain and K-Lock went to the New World to train themselves, and Doflamingo returned to his own country. His business is very big and cannot be discarded. After all, it is a resource. Nico Robin was looking at the collection of books in the Golden City recently. Although Tezzolo himself was not interested in these books, he, like other rich people, had the disease of collecting books. So when it comes to the collection of books, he is no less than any library on the sea. This also made Nico Robin directly immersed in it. She is a historian. Under the influence of Ohara scholars since she was a child, she has a strong interest in books, no matter what kind of knowledge they contain. Even when she was in the Straw Hat Pirates, she would often read a book, which was her hobby. With Tezzoro in the Golden City, Namikaze Kirito doesn't need to do anything, just enjoy it. Under normal circumstances, if Doflamingo wanted to find Namikaze Kirito, he would definitely call the phone bug directly. But in the form of letters, it must be intelligence. After opening the envelope, there were several photos and information descriptions inside.
The photo was actually taken when Redhead was fighting with Kaido and Big Mom. It can be seen how terrifying Doflamingo's intelligence organization is, and it has penetrated into the core of the 4 Emperors pirate group.
A few days ago, the red-haired Shanks contacted 4 Emperors Big Mom and 4 Emperors Kaido. The three discussed some matters about Namikaze Kirito, and finally got into a fight because of disagreements. Even the mysterious news agency only said that the red hair had contacted the 4 Emperors, and the specifics were unknown. But Doflamingo's information is much more detailed, and even reports about the discussion. What a qualified reporter, Doflamingo! Namikaze Kirito affirmed Doflamingo's ability. As for the red-haired Shanks discussing about himself with those two guys, don't even think about it. Everyone knows that he wants to emulate the way his old captain treated rocks. Knowing that you are not an opponent, you plan to shake people? He had already guessed his purpose before, and now this information is basically confirmed. But with the character of Kaido and Big Mom, they would never agree to team up with red hair, and even if they teamed up, so what? Advertisement. It is estimated that the only ones who can help the red hair are the 5 old men in the Holy Land. 5 elders, just right. Let me see what kind of trouble you guys will have with the red hair. It's best to test your background again. If I kill the important turning point in the world like the red hair Shanks, what will happen to the world? Order should be able to bear it, right? Backquote, as long as you make a move, there will be a flaw, and then don't blame me. But it's no wonder, after all, the world order of the Hokage world has been bullied by that mysterious person for a long time. Namikaze Kirito hugged Boa Hancock in his arms and said softly. Okay honey Tilda. Redhead Shanks. The reason why Boa Hancock couldn't control himself was because he saw the contents of the letter. The tea party is just a tea party. What do you mean by Lotus Smoothie's appreciation for Namikaze Kirito? Thinking of this, Namikaze Kirito's eyes were filled with satisfaction. Charlotte Tesmoji, as one of the 3 dessert generals of the Big Mom pirate group, is also very famous in this sea. Okay, Hancock, hold back, Bar Carla is going to be freaked out by you. Ha 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 ha, that old woman is not stupid, do you want to fish in water? In addition, Namikaze Kirito jumped face directly to seize the source, so it's no wonder that he was not in a hurry. Invitation to the Big Mom tea party. Seeing Namikaze Kirito smiling so happily, Boa Hancock also came up to take a look curiously, Dejiao's, and with just this one look, the conqueror's haki on her body came out directly. The world order in this world is obviously much more difficult to deal with than the Hokage world, and it is said that it is difficult to deal with because of the opponent's stubborn character. After reading Doflamingo's information, Namikaze Kirito opened the second letter again, which was very interesting. And the order of this world has not come into contact with that mysterious person. In other words, it has not been beaten by society, and it is still waiting and watching. Just a word, Boa Hancock, who was like an ice queen before, immediately turned into a girl in love. Seeing this scene, there was a hint of admiration in Bara Carla's beautiful eyes. If Carla next to her hadn't recently been strengthened by Namikaze Kirito, she might have rolled her eyes and fainted at this moment. Chapter 253. Rowing without oars. In addition to being a cadre of the 4 Emperors pirate group, there is also the tall and charming figure, especially those long legs. Isn't this a pure high-level gun? The arrest warrant issued by Marine can see her figure, which is really charming. Coupled with the long-standing style of the Big Mom pirates, as long as there is strength or a strange race, they will marry. The eyes of the men are very hot, but because the opponent's strength is really terrifying, so there is no brave who can control it yet. Boa Hancock used to be one of the 7 warlords of the sea, and also knew about the 4 emperors' intelligence. Seeing that the strength of Big Mom's pirate group is entirely the result of his marriage, he is very disdainful of this. The pirate queen has her own pride, and her appearance is the best in the world. As a woman, Boa Hancock looks down on what Big Mom does, even though she is a powerful 4 emperors.
The letter said that Smoothie admired Namikaze Kirito, or that he wanted to get married.
This be the old woman. Boa Hancock looked at the letter with gritted teeth like a kitten in Namikaze Kirito's arms. If Namikaze Kirito wasn't there, she would probably just tear up the letter to vent her anger. Barbara Carla couldn't help covering her mouth and chuckling when she saw this scene.
Although there was a hint of jealousy in her 427 heart, she didn't think she could control Namikaze Kirito.
No matter how many women like the force against the world, it is not surprising. Besides, didn't Boa Hancock help her get angry? Okay, Big Mom just wants to take advantage of it, and I'll make you angry. Namikaze Kirito caressed his wife and smoothed the fried hair. Under the comfort of his own man, Boa Hancock also gradually became quiet. Big Mom's tea party, since Namikaze Kirito is invited, he will definitely go, definitely not for those long legs. Instead, I want to see how Big Mom will appease the newly promoted king.
If you want to fish in troubled waters and get benefits from the rear, you have to pay something accordingly, otherwise Namikaze Kirito won't mind cleaning up the Big Mom pirates first.
Advertisement. Although Boa Hancock was very displeased with this matter, she would not say much about her man's decision.
It's just that before leaving, it's inevitable to be lingering. Of course, Barbara Carla can't run away at all. This time, Namikaze Kirito did not bring his subordinates to the Big Mom tea party. One reason is that they all have their own affairs to be busy with, and such matters do not require their presence.
It's just to attend a tea party, not to start a war. The second is that in his previous life, Namikaze Kirito especially liked Hokage's pretense when he first appeared on the stage. A person on the sea does not need any large boats, but sits on a small bamboo raft that can barely become a boat, and there are candles on it. It can be said to be full of force. In other words, no one knows whether you will use the black knife in his hand as an oar when no one is around. If there is no need for oars, it proves that Hokage does not need oars at all, and all depends on the waves. After finally coming to this world of pirates, it would be a pity if I didn't put on a show. Wood style is very convenient for building ships. Yamato in the Hokage world got the blood succession limit of wood style. Because of the problem of constitution, he can only use some simple techniques. I haven't seen him research much on the skills of killing enemies, but the building skills are full. Whether you want a large flat with 3 bedrooms and 1 living room, or a small villa, he can build it for you. Skill style. Kirito didn't even make a seal. A boat appeared on the pier. The boat was originally black, with a large chair in the center of it. The dragon pattern is carved on the chair, which looks very haughty. If it is dyed gold, it is an ancient dragon chair from the Dragon Kingdom. The surrounding fence is decorated with dragon heads. I have to say that Namikaze Kirito himself is very satisfied with the shape of this car. With Wangshen Billionsaka, he is the only one who has to take a boat. He doesn't need to worry about supplies. He can take food and drinks out of Wangshen Billionsaka's space at any time. After boarding the boat, Namikaze Kirito filled the boat with chakra directly, and the hockey exposed boat drifted away on the sea. If it is a normal large ship, it will take about half a month from Golden City to Wanguo. There is no way to compare the speed of a small boat with chakra speed, not to mention the pirate ship of common, even a warship with the latest technology. Advertisement: it is estimated that it will take a day's journey to reach Wanguo. Speed is power. This sentence is not just talking. Because of the rapid form of the boat, the sides of the boat are like fountains, splashing billowing waves. This also led to the fact that the ships on the road thought that some giant beast was passing by, and they were so frightened that they hurriedly avoided. There were also adventurous pirates who wanted to find out, but after seeing Namikaze Kirito on the boat, they immediately turned pale with fright. 4. 4 Emperors. Why does 4 Emperors Namikaze Kirito appear here? Finally going to fight New World? It seems that we have to hide away to avoid being affected. Everyone turned around and returned to the previous island. The red hair of one of the 4 Emperors just caused a big incident, and Namikaze Kirito came over in a blink of an eye. There will never be peace in this sea. In a day's time, the story of Namikaze Kirito entering the second half of New World has spread across the sea. It's anyone's guess what he's going to do, but another piece of news is equally eye-catching. Big Mom, one of the 4 Emperors, is going to have a tea party, inviting people of all races, as well as black market dealers. Even the mysterious Revolutionary Army has been invited. Of course, it is not known whether they will go or not. Adding these two pieces of information together, some people have already guessed the purpose of Namikaze Kirito. Definitely going to Big Mom's tea party. It is definitely not that simple for 4 Emperors to meet. You must know that Namikaze Kirito has not appeared in the eyes of the world a few times, but every time there have been big incidents. This time it's time to go to another 4 Emperors' territory. Who knows what will happen? Martial law has already begun on the marine side, and all New World warships have been transferred back to the headquarters. No matter which of the 4 Emperors makes any movement, Marine will respond immediately to prevent emergencies. But this time, Marine's quick response made all the major forces in the world feel somewhat disdainful. The 2 marshals of your Marine were killed by Namikaze Kirito. Even if he wants to do something, do you really dare to stop him? It can be seen that the deaths of Sengoku and Kong have had a great impact on Marine's reputation. Aokiji's temporary appointment is not easy at all. Chapter 254: The Revolutionary Army is coming. Wanguo is located in a sea area of New World, where 4 Emperors Bigmom established the Todo Land Kingdom. Wanguo. The Kingdom of Nations is the Kingdom of Dreams. It is a country where all races in the world live together regardless of their level. It is a big country. With Cake Island as the main body, there are 34 islands dotted around and scattered nearby. They are governed by 34 ministers. The general name of this sea area is Todo Land. Cake Island, the residence of 4 Emperors, Big Mom, Charlotte Linlin in New World, also known as Cake Island, is composed of large cakes and cream, shaped like a layered layer cake. Because the Big Mom pirates are closely related to the underground forces, they also learned that Namikaze Kirito is coming here soon. The port of Cake Island is dominated by Katakuri, and a group of people have already been waiting here. Seeing Namikaze Kirito's boat docked, Katakuri rushed to meet it. Mr. Namikaze Kirito, hello, I am sent by Mom to meet you. Welcome to Wanguo. Originally, Katakuri's character was not suitable for welcoming people, but in order to prove his sincerity, Big Mom still sent him. In this Big Mom pirate group, he is called the most perfect man. Namikaze Kirito also met Katakuri for the first time. Should I say anything, the other party's temperament is indeed worthy of the title. In the previous life, Namikaze Kirito was also fond of this character very much. Katakuri, do you want to follow me? As soon as this remark came out, not only Katakuri was taken aback for a moment, but the surrounding members of the Big Mom pirates were all stunned. You want to poach people as soon as you come up? Are you poaching the cadres of the pirates? Are you sure this Namikaze Kirito is here for the tea party, not looking for trouble? After a moment of sluggishness, Katakuri came back to his senses, and immediately said, You are joking, Mom has prepared the most delicious dessert, let me pick you up to the banquet hall. Iga. Namikaze Kirito nodded, walked forward, and when passing by Katakuri, said softly, I'm serious, you have been upset with that old woman for a long time, right? Isn't it to protect your younger siblings? Yes, chances are, we can chat. Katakuri didn't speak, and walked straight forward to lead the way for Namikaze Kirito. Although his face was still calm, he couldn't help but set off turbulent waves in his heart. He can feel that Namikaze Kirito is serious. If other 4 emperors or other major powers in the world say this sentence, Katakuri will directly reply to the other party, and even feel that the other party is provoking him. There will definitely be a fight if there is a disagreement. But what Namikaze Kirito said had to make him think. You must know that in this world, the only person who can suppress the world government with one person's strength is currently Namikaze Kirito. Advertisement: even if you follow him, your mom probably won't react. No way, Namikaze Kirito's current strength is so strong, it has been recognized in the world now that no single force can fight against Fung Kirito alone. This still refers to himself, not the Golden City, Doflamingo and others. The red-haired Shanks has always had an adventurous spirit. No matter what kind of enemy the opponent is, he feels that he will not consider joining forces. It is such a person, still in order to deal with Namikaze Kirito, come to Big Mom to join forces with Kaido. You can see the horror of the man behind him, but I still have to go back and think about it. Katakuri has too many scruples, especially those brothers and sisters. What would they do if they said they were really gone? When Big Mom gets angry, if there is no one like Katakuri around him, many brothers and sisters will die again, which he doesn't want to see. Namikaze Kirito walked on the Cake Island, and passers-by looked sideways frequently. There is no way, he is too prestigious now. Everyone wants to see what kind of power a person who has killed 2 marine marshals will have. Although they had already read the arrest warrant, but when they saw him, the shudder in their hearts told them that what was reported was true. This man is too dangerous. It can't be blamed on Namikaze Kirito. The reason why passers-by feel trembling in their hearts is entirely because he is recovering some abilities every day. As a result, the strength in the body continues to grow, and sometimes, it can't be controlled to leak out at all. Especially Rinnegan's coercion ability and Conqueror's Haki. Both of these forces are breathtaking momentum. Unless they are strong, just seeing Namikaze Kirito standing there is enough to make a group of people fall to the ground. This old woman, Big Mom, really enjoys it. 0. Seeking flowers 0. Looking at the bustling surroundings and the houses made of dim sum, Namikaze Kirito couldn't help sighing. Those unscrupulous words directly shocked the people of Big Mom Pirates. But Katakuri, who took the lead, didn't say anything, and they didn't dare to say anything, who didn't know that the one next to him was a ruthless master. Advertisement without Mom's order: if you really offend him, you will fight in a rage. According to Big Mom's personality, they are all dead. Led by Katakuri, they soon came to a house made of giant cakes. This is the place for the tea party. Big Mom's tea session will last for many consecutive days every time, so Namikaze Kirito is not too early. People from various forces have come here. 0. In a shadow not far away, a man in a dark green robe was talking to a scantily clad woman smoking a cigarette. What do you think of Namikaze Kirito? Ah, how do you look at it? Killing innocent scum indiscriminately? Garbage. Anyway, that's how you look at it. How else can you look at it? Betty. The mysterious man took off his hood. If Namikaze Kirito were here, he would be able to recognize Luffy's father, Monkey D. Dragon. He was also the most ferocious criminal in the world before. At this time, Long Jung looked helplessly at the woman in front of him. Bello Betty, Revolutionary Army Cadre, commander of the Eastern Army. Paramisha encourages the fruit, which can trigger the power hidden in people's body. It can be said to be the big killer of the Revolutionary Army. Not to mention my hatred, I have a fierce personality. I usually hold a big flag and wear a red blouse and short skirt. The blouse was not even buttoned up, revealing her natural weapon. Purple hair, wearing sunglasses, and a cigarette dangling from her red lips. If you don't say this is a Revolutionary Army, you may think she is a hot girl from a bar. In order to observe Namikaze Kirito up close, this time the dragon came in person and brought the cadres of the Revolutionary Army. Although it is true that Namikaze Kirito is the 4 emperors, he has never been a pirate, not even a pirate flag. The first thing that appeared in everyone's sight was to kill a Tianlongping. This also gave the dragon the illusion of being able to win over Namikaze Kirito. Chapter 255. The banquet is about to begin. Recently, due to the world government's large-scale conscription, the pressure on the Revolutionary Army is a bit heavy. The insider in the world government told Long that this method has indeed allowed Marine to recruit a lot of strong people. Although anyone with a discerning eye knows that the world government's move is to fight against Namikaze Kirito, but the Revolutionary Army is also a thorn in their side. Long has reason to believe that when all the forces of the world government are strengthened, they will definitely attack the Revolutionary Army. That's why he took the risk and came to the 4 emperors' territory. If you can get the support of Namikaze Kirito, great things will happen. Thinking of this, Long said to Bello Betty seriously. Betty, if you see Namikaze Kirito, you can't say that. Huh? Bello Betty curled her cigarette in her mouth vigorously. It's just a villain, why should we respect him? The 650. Dragon looked at Bello Betty's speechless face. You must know that in the eyes of the world government, the Revolutionary Army is also an evil party, right? Are you talking about Namikaze Kirito? Are you sure you didn't scold yourself? I know, don't look at me like that, Chief. Seeing Long's more and more serious expression, Bello Betty expressed her surrender. In the Revolutionary Army, she may not give face to anyone, but the leader still has to give face. Otherwise, it is easy to be beaten. Well, Big Mom also invited us this time. Although we don't know what her purpose is, we'll just wait and see what happens. Shall I not reveal my identity yet? You can get in touch with them. Yes. Bello Betty said seriously. On the other side, Namikaze Kirito was led into the banquet hall. Should it be said that he is the richest one in the 4 emperors? The whole hall is full of charming fragrance, and there are homies made by Big Mom using the fruit ability. These homies are created by Big Mom using the ability of soul fruit. You only need to fill the object with soul, and the object will come alive, including clouds, flames and other intangible things. After being endowed with a soul, he became a subordinate of Big Mom. It can be said to be a very terrifying ability. Big Mom also relies on this ability to extract other people's lives at will. Advertisement. Seeing Namikaze Kirito walk into the hall, the lively hall fell silent for a moment. This is a big shot. 4 emperors Namikaze Kirito, he actually came to the tea party. Hey, 2 4 emperors get together, won't war break out? Is it safe here? It shouldn't be a problem. You can see that he didn't bring any of his men with him. He definitely didn't come to fight. Looking at him makes me feel fear in my heart. He is indeed a man who can shock the world. From the moment Namikaze Kirito entered, all the focus was on him. Katakuri still had that serious face, and directly led Namikaze Kirito to the front seat, next to the Big Mom's seat. It can also be seen from this point that the arrival of Fung Kirito is really hard work. Eee. Just after Namikaze Kirito took his seat, there was a sound of heavy footsteps. Following the gazes of everyone, one of the four emperors, Big More's huge body came out with a shake. Well, I really kept the guests waiting for a long time. The arrival of Namikaze Kirito obviously made Big Mom very happy, with a cheerful smile on his face. There are Thundercloud Zeus and Sun Prometheus floating behind. These two together with the bicorn hat Napoleon on her head, is the most powerful homies she has created. Possesses the power of fire and thunder, but since Whitebeard's death, she doesn't seem to have a few shots. Those who can make the four emperors make a move are the same four emperors, or a few strong men in the world. Four emperors, the red-haired Shanks has no intention of going to war. Kaido has not come out in Wano Kuni, let alone Namikaze Kirito, has been head-to-head with the world government. In the new world, who wouldn't want to have a fight with her? Is the old woman here? Namikaze Kirito rested his head directly on his hands, and put his feet in black boots on the table, looking very casual. Of course, if he is like this, no one dares to say anything. The world of pirates is very simple. Whoever has the strongest ability is the boss. Let alone your feet on the table, even if you put your feet on other people's heads. Advertisement. The other party also dared not speak out. Big Mom went straight to the seat and looked at Namikaze Kirito. This was the first time the two met, and they both looked at each other with a certain degree of scrutiny. Namikaze Kirito, this is the first time we meet, thank you for coming to my tea party. Well, Big Mom spoke first, expressing welcome. Oh, it's nothing. Your invitation letter says that there are countless rare foods. It would be a pity if I didn't come to eat a few bites. Well, eat whatever you want, whether it is what we have here or not, as long as you ask, we can get it for you, and our family is very warm to treat guests. Then thank you. The simple conversation between the two shocked the people around them. They didn't expect the always brutal Big Mom to have such a kind side. He even said that if there is no one on the island, he will send someone to get it back. This is too polite. Lin, long time no see. Just when everyone was shocked, a beautiful figure walked up to Big Mom and said in surprise. This person has short gold hair and a white hat with a flower on it. With a face that fascinates men coupled with that bumpy figure, as soon as she appeared, she immediately attracted the attention of countless men. But Namikaze Kirito is not that interested, and he also clearly knows the other party's identity. Queen of the Pleasure District, Stracy, but her actual identity is a member of World Government Cipher Pol, CP0. On the bright side, as one of the Emperor's 3.3 of the underground world, he has an extraordinary friendship with Big Mom, and he is even more powerful. Over the years, the people who made up her mind must have sunk to the bottom of the sea to feed the Sea Kings. Stracy, it's been a long time, didn't you say you're too busy to come? Big Mom was also very happy to see his best friend coming. What matter can be as important as Lin's tea party? I pushed everything away and brought you a gift. With that said, Stracy handed Big Mom a box. As soon as it was opened, golden light shone from inside, and a refreshing fragrance wafted out. This is made by the famous pastry chef in North Blue. I waited in line for a long time before I got it for you. Stracy is very good at coaxing Big Mom, knowing what the other party likes. Prescribe the right medicine, the effect is the best.